They break, they steal, no one here is free. Here they come for thee. Unless you listen to Dave and Stacie.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave with the Core Productions Deep Dive Tea Podcast. My co-host Stacie here to talk about from Season 4, Episode 10, If a Tree Falls in the Forest, the season finale of Season 4.
Whoa!
And unlike another show that I won't name, I'm actually sad to see this season go.
And excited to talk about it at the same time.
There's a lot of things to talk about.
This is probably going to be a long one, so
strap in.
Buckle up.
Yes. The episode description reads as follows. Boyd's quest to lead the residents home reaches a terrifying crossroads, and nothing will ever be the same again. Story by John Griffin, with a teleplay by John Griffin and Jeff Pinkler, directed by Jack Bender. Before any further, I'll tell you a couple things. One, this is not a support-free podcast. If you haven't watched the episode, I highly recommend you go check it out, and then come back and give us a listen. Secondly, if you're listening on one of the platforms of this podcast is now available on, please follow. And feel free to check out our YouTube channel, Corn Productions, where additional content can be discovered. If you're on our YouTube channel, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to our channel. First, a sad announcement. It doesn't really apply here, but it's nevertheless somewhat snipping into the television landscape. Rest in peace for James Burrows, who was a director of plenty of television shows back in the day, mainly comedies, and was the creator of Cheers. I think one of the creators of Cheers, anyway. And so, yeah, rest in peace for James Burrows. All right, Stacie, you have some birthday shout-outs.
We have a lot of birthdays this week.
Yes.
On our birthday calendar. Today, June 28th, is Jessica Hetch. She played Sonia on The Sinner. She turns 62 today.
Okay.
Happy birthday to Jessica. And also today is Catherine King So, who played May on Revival. She turns 30 today.
She had chemistry with everyone in that series, as I recall.
And then on June 30th, we have Peter Outerbridge, who played Walter on Sullivan's Crossing. He turns 60. On July 1st, Caitlin Thompson. She played Madison on This Is Us. And, of course, she is married to series creator Dan Fogelman, who also was the creator of Paradise.
I'm surprised we haven't seen her in Paradise yet.
I expect we will at some point. Caitlin turns 39 this week.
Awesome.
Also on July 1st is Julianne Nicholson, who plays Sinatra on Paradise. She turns 55 this week. July 2nd is Birva Pandya, who played, is she still alive? Iris, she dead.
No, I'm pretty sure she's alive.
She's alive?
I think so.
I need to rewatch.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch The Institute because season 2 is coming later this year, and I don't remember who's even alive.
She also appeared in the Testaments as well.
Yes, I have that as well.
Oh, okay.
Birva turns 21 this week.
Okay.
Big one for her. Happy birthday. On July 3rd, we have Amanda Rowe.
A very talented director.
Director on Revival. She turns 39 this week.
Okay.
And looking ahead to next week on July 8th, Reed Price.
Of course.
Who is Tom the bartender on this series. He plays Rob Shannon on Sullivan's Crossing. He was also in The Sinner, King and Pawn, all sorts of things.
Yes.
We've been following Reed's career for a few years.
Yep.
So happy birthday to Reed.
All right, shout-outs this week. I got a big one. Gerard, you're right up front this week. You became a member at the assistant producer level.
Ooh.
Yes, the first person to do that. So congratulations for that, which means that not only will he get on-screen credit, but he will, for as long as he has this membership tier, be credited on every single podcast episode that we do in that time period.
Yeah, on IMDb.
And, you know...
Official credits.
Right. Even if he goes for just 1 month, you know, we're busy beavers, so he'll get like 40 to 50 credits.
We don't do that many. Producer. We don't do 40 to 50 episodes a month, Dave.
No, you're probably right about that.
Maybe 4 or 5.
Right. I mean, it really depends on the month. Like, for instance, I think we were quite busy this month.
We were quite busy this month, but things are going to slow down a little bit now that we're at the end of the seasons.
Yes. No more new television after this.
No,
this is the last one.
I mean, we're not slowing down completely. We have lots of plans for the summer. but we're going to slow down with, like, things that have deadlines.
Right.
So our whole dynamic's going to shift a little bit, where things are going to be a little more relaxed. And all of our deadlines are going to be things we implement to ourselves because we're crazy.
Right.
Instead of because television decided to give us all 3 shows we cover at the same time.
And this
has been a rough season, by the way, trying to get everything out in time. And I'm relieved that this is our last recording for this season of television.
Well, maybe not, because we still might have the Institute later this year.
But for this season, for the spring television season, in which we covered from Sullivan's Crossing and You're Killing Me, which all aired at exactly the same time, this is our last season finale recording. Yes. And for that, I am taking a breath. And we don't get to breathe for long because we have holidays coming up, we have summer plans, we have old shows that we're trying to get back to. So
trivia?
There's lots going. We have trivia coming up very soon. We have a lot going on.
Yes, which by the way,
but this is a good place for us to be like, we've accomplished something. We finished 3 seasons of television.
Right, and if you have not
in 10 weeks,
if you have not already contacted us, if you are interested in doing trivia. Please do so in the manner that you want to get in contact with us. If you've already been talked to us about this, then you don't have to say anything else other than trying to schedule with us, of course. All right, so back to Gerard and his points.
All right, what does Gerard have to say about episode 409?
Maybe Kristy was plumb out of other clothes to wear, so she just picked up something from Colony House that was the best overall fit.
Yeah, I still feel like it was a weird decision to be a plumbing outfit.
Right.
By the way, we hadn't touched on the name of the plumbing company, so this feels like a good place to do that. The name of the company on her overalls was 3J's Plumbing, which of course that stands for our creators of the series, John, Jeff, and Jack, are the 3J's.
Okay.
I had seen people in the fandom didn't understand what 3J's was referring to, but that's definitely what that is a nod to.
All right, so number 2, I feel like the debate about do the talismans actually work is somewhat a waste given the unbalanced evidence for the working side. If the talisman didn't work, that means A, they would have caught Boyd when he fell into the stone hut that contained them, given it only had a series of vines covering its opening, and they seemed to see him. And B, would have required all the monsters in that moment outside the stone hut to agree to suddenly improv, hey, let's pretend these rocks stop us, so it'll be really funny years later when we show them they don't. I don't think Kevin would have had to open a window into Colony House, nor would have the female monster have gone through such a long con, for example, if the talismans didn't work. All right, so the whole idea behind the talismans not actually working and not actually stopping the monsters thing is to give the townspeople a false sense of hope. Because this is the way the story is actually supposed to go. They don't want to kill certain people, so for instance, they don't kill Boyd. For whatever reason, the idea behind it not working is that it doesn't actually do anything. They only pretend that it does something, and that they probably do this every cycle. Now, I'm less convinced of that, and I wasn't even convinced of it in the first place, but I think there's some strong evidence that that's probably not the case, given the fact that we make a big deal of getting rid of the talismans.
Right. I feel like this episode confirms that even if there's no, like, strict magical reason that they work, they have rules in place that they work.
Right.
That they will not ever break those rules. You know what I mean?
Yep. Number 3, I know it isn't likely to ever be answered or even be that important to know, but watching the MIY transform back from his suit, I wondered how much of an outfit he needs to transform. If someone stole the undershirt or suspenders or the jacket but left everything else, could he still transform? Do the clothes have to be in good condition to allow transformation? So, for instance, if they burned it, would he be able to do it?
I mean, that's a question, right, that we had is... Are the clothes even important for the transform? Or was it just him saying, this is the look I want to have when I present myself to Tabitha?
In this form, yeah.
Right. Do the clothes have anything to do with the actual characteristics of being that person?
Yep.
Or not? Is it the teeth? Like, we don't really know. But But I do hope that's something that we learn more about, because the suitcase and burying the suitcase and what's in the suitcase, it seems relevant, but we're not sure exactly how or why or what. Because in that photograph, original Sophia is not wearing the plaid dress. She's wearing a blue dress.
Okay.
So is the plaid dress something real Sophia wore maybe the day she died?
Right.
And that's why it's the one associated? I still feel like there's a lot to learn about clothes. Even going far back is to talk about the clothes and the creatures. Remember I was talking a couple weeks ago about Smiley's sweater. When he was reborn, he got a new shirt, but he's wearing the same sweater. Where did he get the sweater from?
Right.
The clothes is... There are questions about the clothes. I don't feel confident enough to come to any conclusions about anything to do with the clothes, other than the fact that the clothes does feel significant.
Okay. Number 4, I thought Sophia was doing the my blood is your blood thing that Martin did to Boyd, and Boyd did to Smiley, but those words were never said, so it must have a similar but different blood ritual that results, hopefully, in fewer worms for all parties involved. Yeah, that's actually interesting, because I had actually thought about that the blood transfer thing that Sophia and Clara did is actually very similar to Martin. Mm-hmm. And it actually, that kind of lends credence to the fact that Martin actually is the man in yellow. And so he transferred the worms to Boyd on purpose to start whatever was going on with the cicadas.
Maybe.
Or
maybe not.
Right. The other important takeaway from the scene, given that what Clara does later, is the audience finding out that somehow Sophia knows about what is going on with Fatima. Only like 5 people know about the veins. I would argue even less than that. And even less know about her near-dead vitals. So how does Sophia know? Does Smiley know in some way and found a way to tell Sophia? I think this is something that Sophia caused somehow.
Yeah, I think the whole evolution of what's been happening to Fatima is just part of the story. All the way back to the pregnancy.
Right.
Right? So I think Sophia knows this is what's happening because it's happening the way it's supposed to happen.
Yes.
And the way it always happens.
Yes.
With one character, with whoever birthed a creature, that they have, X amount of time left. And when she was like, okay, it's time to speed this up a little, and that's when she sends Clara to do what Clara does.
Number 5, I feel like the writers are using Jade's trip to cheat a little and shorthand some things the character shouldn't otherwise know. He suddenly knows exactly where the chamber is and how to get to it, despite that part being specifically skipped in the trip, and no one else who's been in the tunnels having been to that chamber. He knows which faraway tree to pull. He knows that the kids' bones will protect them. That actually turns out to be a lie, so that actually is negated somewhat by that. Because of a feeling that we never saw occur. I don't mind it since the characters need to know this stuff for the story to progress. It just seems like a small cheat to me, given what we saw in the trip.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw, I did respond to part of that in regards to the fact that Jade has been in that chamber before.
Okay.
And he was pulling that knowledge probably more from his actual visits to the tunnels than from the trip itself. And as far as the part about the bones protecting him, yeah. And that's explained in this episode because he was lying.
Right.
It was just some bullshit he made up for the sake of, getting people to stop arguing.
Basically, so that Boyd would not shut him down is
right.
His exact reasoning. Number 6, I was a bit worried about the cookies, given Patty's clearly still open and healing facial wound. I was concerned about contamination. We don't need more blood getting into things. We've had enough of that on this show. Good point.
Speaking of the cookies, I talked to Paula Lynn LaFontaine, who is the background actress who we saw briefly in that scene. She passed by Patty with the cookies. And her opinion was that the cookies smelled delicious, even though they didn't look great. They were actually molasses cookies. And she really wished she could have eaten them because they smelled really good, but she didn't get to.
Right. Most of them end up on the floor, thanks to Henry. I didn't like Boyd saying not to tell Fatima. If anyone deserves to know what is going on with her own body, it's Fatima. Fatima not sharing about her pregnancy cravings ended up with Smiley coming back. So keeping things from her about her own body will quite likely end in something else very bad happening. Well, something else very bad happens, but I don't think that's on the account of...
Yeah, I don't think telling her would have helped any.
Right. She seemed pretty aware of what was going on with her.
Yeah.
Number 8, the scene between Victor and the boy in white made me wonder, do these entities, Tom, Father Kotri, and the boy in white, have to wait till no one else is around to talk to everyone? And that's why it's always a one-on-one scene with them? Is the boy in white telling Victor instead of Boyd because Boyd was constantly being surrounded by people, and the boy in white shouldn't get enough time alone to appear to Boyd or Tabitha and hold a one-on-one conversation? Or did Father Kotri just call dibs and no one else is allowed to talk to Boyd, and the kids called dibs on Tabitha? So it's actually interesting because, like, in the first or second episode, I think, we see a scene with the first time we saw the boy in white.
Mm-hmm. It was at the end of episode 2.
He was Ethan was laying on the bed, and Julie was right next to him. So if she looked out, she potentially could have seen him, but probably didn't.
Right.
But yeah, Ethan, the boy in white waves to Ethan
Yeah.
at the end of that episode, and that is the first time we encounter the boy in white.
Right.
I don't know what my point is there exactly. But...
I'm pretty sure, especially after this episode, that boy in white is something very different than Kotri and all these other things.
I'm not totally convinced of that, but I have more to say about that.
I feel like those could be the boy in white or man in yellow, but I don't think that they're in them as themselves the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think like the boy in white is just a vision of a dead person like they are.
Okay.
The boy in white is clearly its own entity.
Absolutely. I guess what I'm saying is like, okay, so at the end of the episode, I don't even know if I should bring this up here, but at the end of the episode, it seems like the two of them are playing this game together.
Oh, absolutely.
And that the man in yellow entity seems to be able to do more than the boy in white. So I'm wondering if maybe the boy in white has been doing things that we don't know about because it has been these entities of Tom the bartender or Father Kotri. The only thing against that I can think of is Father Kotri was all about Jade's plan, and part of Jade's plan was pulling the tree.
Right.
Which the boy in white was very much against.
We came to that conclusion,
right.
that the Kotri seems to be on the side of whatever's opposite of the boy in white, but I don't think necessarily the side of man in yellow either.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. That's a little bit...
There are more than two forces, it feels like, even though
right.
we're like these two forces are playing a game.
Right.
There's so many things we still don't know. I guess we'll just leave it at that.
Right.
But as far as getting one-on-one, Boy in White did appear to Tabitha and Henry together that one time.
Yes, and I still don't understand
And the question
that.
was, why did Henry get to see him?
Right. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I still think that he should have found a way to talk to Tabitha.
Right. My issue with Tabitha's interpretations of the talisman is that there are supposedly only 7 kids sacrificed as seen in the 7 slabs we've seen, but there are 8 symbols on the talisman, meaning there are more symbols than kids.
Right. I had said 7 when I was talking about the talisman last week. There are 8. Now, I think that the boy in white is the 8th child.
That would make sense.
Because he is dressed the same as the 7 kids. What does that mean? I don't know. There were only 7 slabs that
Right.
we've seen.
Well, I don't think we're supposed to think that the boy in white was the one that was sacrificed. I don't think he was sacrificed.
Either there were 8 kids and he wasn't sacrificed, like maybe they saved him, but not the others, but he still died, but just not in the ritualistic way that the entity needed the kids to die.
Okay.
Like, obviously he's dead.
Yes, obviously.
But, like, did he not die in the sacrifice the same way the other 7 kids did? Or is he just the manifestation of the 7 kids come together? Like, does he represent them
Okay.
in some way, shape, or form?
Sure.
Like, as he speaks for the kids. He's
Okay.
somehow related to the kids because he's dressed the same as them,
Right.
is what I'm saying.
Okay. Number 10, something you didn't touch on for the Nightmare Diner scene was that, as far as I could see, the milkman's outfit is back to perfect status, despite his huge stabbing earlier in the episode. We know the monsters can heal, but through their clothes, it would seem so. And yes, I think it does
And that
seem
goes
so.
back to the, what is the deal with the clothes?
Right. I mean, like Jasmine, like...
We've
Yeah.
seen over and over again their clothes get clean.
Mhm.
For no explanation of why.
Maybe they just have really good dry cleaning.
But also, I can't suggest that their clothes aren't real at all because, like, we've seen the clothes separate from the creatures. So,
yes. I mean, like,
I don't know.
Boyd, Kristy, and Kenny would have had to handle the clothes to burn them in the first place. So
Right.
it must have been real clothes.
Right.
Yeah, I'm at a loss there. But anyway, a lot of Reddit fans thought Acosta was going to be the one to find proof of who Sophia was during her search. The fact that it was Elgin makes me wonder what the point of Acosta's journey this season was, even if the final episode gives her something to do. It does seem like, much like the Golem, and by the way, I'm pronouncing it differently for reasons that you will learn later in these shoutouts. But we spent a lot of the season time on something that seems to have not been worth that level of investment and screen time. I mean, that goes for some other things that have occurred this season, for sure. You just mentioned the Golem. I'm going to reserve my comments about the Golem because I have a thought about that I don't particularly love. But I think I might have a theory as to what the creators were going for with the whole Golem thing. But I'll get to that when we get to when I get to Molly M's comments. When I get there, I will bring up what I have to say about
Okay.
that.
As far as what was the first part of that?
What was the point of Acosta's journey?
Oh, okay, yeah. Now, Elgin found the photograph, but that has been a moot point after episode 10. So I'm going to point out we still need in season 5 the team to discover Sophia. So we're not done with that yet.
Right.
She still needs to be exposed.
All right, number 12. I wondered why they did set up multiple tarps and talismans, like a series of walls at various points in the tunnel. Maybe they didn't want to risk losing so many talismans despite their sudden surplus of them. I think the question was, I wonder why they didn't do that.
Right.
You have any thought on that?
Because then it wouldn't have given us the drama of having the monsters right at the entryway where we can see them. The same reason they used a clear tarp, which feels really illogical for the characters to do.
Do you have an in-universe explanation besides the fact that it's not dramatic enough?
I mean, maybe they only have one tarp. I don't know.
Okay. All right, Latriise. I have noticed the butterflies during Henry's hallucination, and they make me think of Monarch butterflies and Project Monarch, which I feel like that's come up in the podcast before, Project Monarch. I don't remember where or why, but I'm pretty sure we heard.
Possibly Under the Dome. We spent a lot of time talking about Monarch butterflies in that show.
That's true. Which is rumored to have been a CIA mind control program. And it definitely seems like the man in yellow, Sophia, is trying to mess with control Henry's mind. And she goes on to give a really interesting theory, and I'm going to read it, despite the fact that she was reluctant to post it in the first place. But she says, I have a super crazy theory about Clara. What if she and the man in yellow are the same species of entity? You need specific clothes to change into a persona. As Sophia, she never changes into another outfit, and she needs the suit to become the man in yellow. And Clara has been in the exact same outfit for the entirety of the show. I mean, to be fair, most of the characters have.
Most of them have,
and
yeah.
Every time there's a new person, you'll see posts like, why doesn't this person change clothes? Because most of them don't. They wear the same outfits.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway. Down to the bandana in her hair. She never changes clothes. Some people have said it's because of her size and her not being able to fit in a lot of other clothes.
Which is very true.
Yes.
I'm going to speak as a plus-size woman that I would be very uncomfortable in a situation like that where suddenly you need to find other clothes to wear.
Okay. But I think that's a red herring. Maybe she never changes clothes because she needs the specific outfit to stay the persona of Clara. And when hearing about the bargain Clara made when she arrived, I didn't get the sense that she arrived in a vehicle like everyone else. I can't point to anything concrete, but the words she and Sophia were using seemed to hold an extra layer of meaning in subtext. And she asked if Sophia would really let her go home. I'm thinking the home may not be the same world or realm as everyone else from. And that Clara and the man in yellow are from the same place, but Clara was maybe tricked there or otherwise there involuntarily and can't get back to her own realm. Maybe the man in yellow has hidden more items of hers that she needs and can't leave without. In fact, I think the boy in white is the same species of entity as the man in yellow too. I kind of think that's probably true, but maybe not. Maybe their true forms look more like the giant spider that we've yet to see. Sophia's eyes turned black and definitely looked demonic, but they also could have been spider eyes or crow eyes. Okay, Latriise, I don't know about any of that. It's certainly a very creative theory, and I look forward to when you make a television show. I will totally be watching it, for sure.
Yeah, I don't buy that, but I love the theorizing.
Yes.
And I'm curious how Latriise is going to feel about that theory after watching episode 10, when we're also, offering the same deal to Elgin. Which I feel makes it more face value that Clara's just a person.
Right. All right. John, formerly of John of Spotify, says, "Holy crap, I got a shout out. I'm John from Spotify."
Hi, John.
Hi, John. We've been in communication with you, and it seems like you're going to be joining us for trivia, so that's exciting. I only just recently even started looking for any Fromcasts, and the first couple I tried before finding Corporate Productions just didn't do it for me because they either didn't seem to be very knowledgeable, too much of their runtime off topic. I know some podcasters like that.
We definitely know plenty of podcasters like that.
Right. Also, I know I'm weird, but recently I switched to watching the episode first, but I still listen to your episodes multiple times, including going through the other seasons. It's interesting hearing how your theories have evolved over time and how accurate some of your predictions turned out to be. By the way, Stacie was not calling you weird. She was saying that the act of listening to our podcast before watching the episode is what's weird. And neither one of us really has a claim to being normal, that's for sure. An example of that would be us spending hours upon hours talking about television shows.
Hours upon hours upon hours.
Yes, but anyway, just finished episode 9, and I came here immediately. I'm so glad you guys have the ability to make these Fromcasts to come out the same day as the episodes because I really like your perspectives.
Thank you, MGM Plus.
Yes, and thank you, John. Why do you think the sleeping creatures were in their human forms rather than their monster form? Because I feel like every other time we've seen them sleeping, they were in monster form. I was also wondering why the talisman had 2 people, but 8, not 7, etching around them. We've already kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
And I assumed it would be 7 until I counted them. Also, I had a couple questions unrelated to the episode, assuming they're related to From, though. So that's a plus. Number 1. In regards to the idea that every cycle has a lone survivor, if that's the case, how come Victor never mentioned knowing someone that had lived through the cycle before his? Could it be that there is always a survivor, but it isn't necessary that they actually make it to the end of the following cycle? Though that wouldn't really jive with the fact that the creatures seemingly have intentionally allowed Victor to live. I also wonder how an emotionally stunted Victor was able to convince early new arrivals of their new reality. I'm thinking that perhaps he didn't.
Yeah, the way I envision it is he pretty much didn't interact with people until much more recently. Possibly even after Boyd found the talismans and they moved into houses and all of this. Because remember, we didn't see him in that flashback episode of season 1 when Boyd came to town and they're hiding underground and, we had Donna and Dale and Kotri saying, like, here's what's up. Victor wasn't with them. There was no indication that they even knew he existed yet. They might have, but we haven't gotten that part of the story yet. I think he was just avoiding people altogether until much more recently.
Number 2, Victor said that he had been alone in town for a long time before others started showing up again. I wonder how much downtime there is between each cycle. Does it vary? Why not just start the next cycle immediately or at least soon after the last? Yeah, I think there is some variation in between cycles. I don't think that things happen exactly the same way every time. Like, think of a video game, which they're playing some kind of game. Mm-hmm. But each time you replay a video game, you're not doing exactly the same things every time, especially if you lost and had to start over. Each time you are doing maybe similar things, but you're also doing different time.
Yeah, well...
And maybe sometimes you die early, maybe sometimes you go further, kind of like, cycles.
I would guess that if the man in yellow and or the creatures do need to eat people, like if there is a necessity for that, then I would imagine people do pop in sporadically throughout the years. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't take a guess at how frequently, but I would imagine some people come just to be hunted and eaten.
Right.
Throughout time. But they never last long because they're not part of the game. They're just there for food.
Yeah.
So I would expect that all through those years, people would pop up but never last more than one day because they'd immediately be killed. Now, when people started getting spared, because you got to figure, before we had the talisman, like, this community came up, right? Over the past 3 years. That's how long this cycle has been happening. As far as we're going to let people live. The entities here could have taken everyone out if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Obviously, they chose not to because that's the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We could have killed everybody whenever we wanted to.
Right.
But that's not what they're doing. They're intentionally letting this community build in order to play the game. So that part of the cycle of when they're like, okay, here's when we're going to start letting the community build and start letting this version of the story play out, has to be somehow based around Tabitha and Jade aging into their roles.
Right. So you would figure that they would have to be at least 30 to 40 years old.
I'm guessing different variations have happened, because remember, we've seen Tabitha here as a child.
Which I still don't understand. Because why would you bring her in as a child?
That's what I think, that there's been other iterations of this. I think they did that before, and it wasn't any fun, because she was a kid.
Right.
So they didn't do that again. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's part of why there's like a 30-year wait, is because they're waiting for them to become people.
Right.
In order for them to play.
Right. Competent people who are capable of, getting somewhere within the game.
Yeah.
So to speak. So how did people end up in town before there were motor vehicles? Covered wagons, maybe? Could people walking down a trail be transported? That is an interesting question. I'm going to give math later, like it's the last note in my notes, about how long I think cycles are, and about something else as well. But I have it between 36 and 40 years each cycle goes for. So 1978 was Victor's cycle. 40 years prior to that would be 1938, right?
Yep.
So were there cars back then?
In the 30s, yes, Dave.
Yes, okay. Well, I mean,
there have been cars since the 1910s.
Sure, but was it common for people to be driving at that point?
Yes.
Okay. So why do we not see vehicles from the 30s?
I'm sure there are, because remember Victor said like there's other car graveyards beyond this one.
Okay, so we haven't.
So maybe we just haven't gone that deep into the cars yet.
Gone into those areas. Okay.
The truck that they drive is from the 50s.
Okay. Okay.
And that also hints that people do come at multiple times.
Right.
But then we get into the whole, like, the buildings are also from the 50s, so.
Right.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah. Okay, so that's an interesting question.
But as far as before vehicles, now remember in the cave drawings there are boats shown on water.
Okay.
So maybe this was a waterway situation hundreds of years ago.
Right, which goes to the point that I made at several points, that this probably is not the same town.
Yeah, the map has changed.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
Because we have a 1950s diner.
Right.
And all these other things that are mid-century. So
right.
The map has obviously changed. And without, like, guessing, like, where we actually are, what this actually physically is, I mean, I don't know. But it'd be fun to explore some of the really old stuff. And I really hope we do. I thought we'd get some of that in season 4. We really didn't get much past in season 4. So the fact that we only have 10 episodes left, oh my gosh. I want to see the 30s. I want to see the 1800s. I want to see more from the original cycle. Like, I want to see these things. I want to understand the cycles and the history. You know, we need more of all of this in order for this to make sense.
Absolutely. And that's a conversation that we're going to continue for sure during this podcast, I think. So I've always wondered how exactly people lived in Frumville before the talismans. Like, from what Victor has said, I sort of get the impression that it was more or less the same, except for having to hide at night. But that feels impractical. I just don't see how they could ever get organized enough to do things like grow, gather food, wash clothes themselves, or really get to know one another when multiple people were getting killed every night, and there wasn't anywhere they could really set up, since they always had to hide once the sun went down. That's interesting, an interesting question. And an offshoot of that is, there were no talismans when Victor arrived as a kid.
That's a great question.
Right. Because, you figure cycles repeat.
Right. And we see her getting rid of the talisman at the end of this episode. And I know when we were talking, we had speculated that they're just going to get set up to get found again for the next cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And again, I feel like it's Victor doesn't give us much and he doesn't remember things. And we need more from Victor, more from Tabitha and Jade at this point, because they are getting all their memories back. So they should start having useful information to share.
Yes. Which I thought was going to happen this season and only happened in little tiny bits.
Yeah. But that's a great question is, in the year prior to Boyd finding the talismans, they weren't organized. They were just hiding. They were losing people every night. But what was it like in previous cycles? Is this always part of the cycle where we have that sporadic people constantly dying phase, and then we transition to talisman phase?
Right. That was my assumption, which means that Victor should have been in the talismans phase twice.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm a little confused there. Did they have talismans and they went away like they did in this episode? Or did they not, in that cycle, happen to find talismans?
Right.
It's confusing. I'm not really sure. And it goes back to we need to see more of that time frame.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that is something that I would like to see addressed.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. How did anyone ever figure out how to deal with the demented Cabbage Patch Kids? Hey, thanks, John. I appreciate you using that term. The first time they showed up before getting wiped out by them. Presumably they didn't have the totems beforehand. What would happen to the cycle if Jade and Tabitha reincarnations were killed by the DCKs or something else before the cycle was supposed to end? Are the cycles the same length? I don't think that they are. I think there are probably, I'll take you back to the video game analogy again. Sometimes there are times where you just die immediately.
Yeah.
Or you die sooner than you're supposed to because you make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's times where Tabitha and Jade, or whoever they happen to be during that cycle, stepped out of their car and just died instantly and cycle over.
I personally feel we are leaning in a direction, and we've said this before, where if Tabitha or Jade die, it ends the cycle.
Yes.
It prompts the massacre immediately.
Yes.
Because we know the night that Miranda died is the night the massacre happened.
Yes.
And we know they didn't get this far that time. We were told this is the farthest they've ever gotten. So that had happened sooner in whatever the overall repeating story is.
Right.
So why? It has to be because she died, I think.
I think so.
I think that's a good theory, anyways, until we're told otherwise.
Right.
And I'm going to go back to something I know I've talked about a bunch before, is the fact that Christopher and Miranda were not the same age.
Yes.
And that makes me think that in the previous cycle before that one, either it was a longer cycle or there has to be a reason that their previous lives before them didn't end at the same time.
Right.
That Miranda was so much younger than Christopher. And I feel like it's possible when Christopher was born and Miranda was born, and they were supposed to be here 10 or 15 years earlier, but they weren't because Miranda's past life... No, Christopher was born and somebody else. Miranda's previous life was born.
Right.
And then that girl died... And
in
then
the real
Miranda
world?
was right
Okay.
before they could even get here. And then Miranda was born, and now Christopher has to wait until Miranda's of age. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Interesting.
There had to have been some kind of disruption of them dying and born at the same time.
Yeah.
Because Tabitha and Jade are the same age, but Miranda and Christopher were not.
Correct. Yeah.
So if we're talking about cycles and real life has to play into this somehow too. because
Right.
they're living lives before they get here.
I mean, how much control does this man in yellow entity have over what happens in the real world? Like, oops, somebody dies in the real world that wasn't supposed to because they were supposed to come play this game.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting question. All right, number 6. A thought I've had about a story reason for the boy in white aging, because I like to believe the show creators were aware of the child actors getting older issue. I mean, you would think so, because these guys have been in television for a long time and have probably dealt with, and in fact, I know for a fact that some of them have dealt with, children growing up. Anyway, and planned for it from the start is that it's part of the cycle, and that after each ending, he becomes younger again, and then ages as the cycle's ending approaches. But then he also said that things are changing, which kind of confuses me because that comes off as this has never happened before, and that doesn't sound very cyclical to me. Maybe there's something that happens that triggers the boy in white getting older. Maybe there's some cycles where they never even get to that point of him aging.
Right.
So,
and if, Miranda's cycle ended that early in the game, that would explain why Victor hadn't seen that step before.
Right, yes. Number 7, finally, I guess nobody is particularly concerned about Tilly anymore. Poor Tilly.
Yeah, I think we've given up on Tilly.
Not the only person to bring up Tilly and the lack of resolution for that, by the way, in these comments. All right, and P.S. Fatima's Mudman is pronounced Golem. Yes, as you noticed, I've already made that correction after reading this particular comment. Golem is actually a Lord of the Rings character.
Golem, Gollum, potato.
Wait.
You know what we mean.
Wait, you're saying that I mispronounced something? That has never happened on this podcast before.
Never, ever. Never once.
All right, Jackie B. She says, not gonna lie, I'm a little annoyed that Sophia didn't appreciate Sarah's efforts in painting her room. Rude, Sophia, rude. And my comment to that, this is a Facebook comment, was, just because she's a 1,000-year-old entity does not mean that she doesn't need to, show some manners.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I want to know, where did this perfectly fine purple paint come from?
Right.
That it's not, old and dried up.
She thanks me for the shout out on our podcast. I listened to one for episode 9 last night. I love it. I mean, it's like you guys actually follow the story and have intelligent conversation about what's happening. It's kind of like that.
Kind of like that. That's the goal, anyways. I'm glad that people believe in us and see that we have something to say, because I don't think we'd have gotten this far if they didn't.
No, absolutely not. Sophia Yellow, I don't know how to pronounce this, but she's combined, Yellow and Sophia.
Okay.
Transferring the blood to Clara for her to put into her Fatima's weird drink. I always imagine that Soap Yellow imbues it with her intention. So that's interesting in the sense that she intends to turn Fatima into a monster, and maybe when she was the man in yellow entity was Martin, for instance, the man in yellow entity intended to basically give Boyd the worms, which would of course killed Smiley, which of course led to the cicadas.
I'm not convinced that Martin was an entity.
No, okay.
Or had evil intentions. Because remember, Martin was like, hurry and kill me before the music stops. He's coming. Or was it he or they?
I think they are coming.
I don't think Martin wanted to give Boyd the worms.
Okay.
But once the music stopped, Martin lost control of himself and was taken over by whatever actually gave the worms to Boyd.
Okay.
And I feel like this is going to go back to our 3, which I have a lot to say about that because we don't have 3 anymore. But whatever that is what is linked to Martin and the chains and that chamber. And it feels like it's its own whole thing.
Yeah. She also had this theory about the horse pointing towards the lighthouse.
The horse?
Yeah, the horse, the fake horse, the carousel horse.
Oh, the carousel horse.
Yeah, pointing towards the lighthouse, and you just have to go in that direction to get to the lighthouse. She was kidding, I think.
It's hard to tell at this point.
No, she was definitely joking. She wanted me to include, she specifically tagged me to include this theory in the podcast as a joke. Anyway, moving on. Thank you, of course, for your kind comments, Jackie. Laura S., my new friend Laura S., okay, I think the teeth the MIY takes is what helps him transform into the person. Like when he said to Tabitha that he kept one of Jim's teeth, he was also talking to Ethan as Jim, telling him to find the Lake of Tears. I don't think any of these hallucinations or people back from the dead can be trusted. I would do exactly the opposite of whatever they're suggesting.
I mean, yes, I agreed that we can't trust them, but we talked about this before. I don't think that was physically the man in yellow transforming into Jim, because Jim poofed out of existence, didn't walk away.
Yes.
And we have pinpointed where every one of these visions have poofed out of existence at some point or another.
Right. Which
they're not physically there. They're not like the man in yellow. Sophia is walking through the woods to transform into a different person.
Yeah, so it might not be the man in yellow, but it's not necessarily something that has anybody's best intentions at heart.
I think that it could be a vision prompted by man in yellow or boy in white or X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But I don't think it is like, oh, physically Sophia transformed into Jim for this scene. Because otherwise we would have seen them walking away, and we didn't.
Okay. So she also brings up the fact that Tilly's death was completely forgotten about. Yes, it was. It's not addressed anywhere. But at a certain point, how the heck would you even investigate that? This is not CSI. They don't have, like, the ability to fingerprint anyone or, like, look for trace evidence and say, aha, here's a hair follicle. It belongs to Fatima. But at this point, given how this episode ends, why not just say, yep, Fatima did it and move on?
Because nobody's questioning it.
Right.
If they questioned it at that point, I guess. But then again, that would be Boyd, acknowledging that he was covering it up in the first place, which is bad, because then people aren't going to trust him.
I think that's kind of a moot point based on how this episode ends. All right, so Molly M says, hello, and sorry, I'm still obsessed with the Golem story. I really hope they don't leave us hanging. I agree with the theory. Fatima may embody the Golem as her body dies or transforms. Her hair loss does connect to classic Golem stories involving using hair and clay to create them. Her connection to Smiley and the common thread in Golem legends that they are very protective of their community, violent, strong, and basically indestructible presents some interesting possibilities. All right, here's where I say it. Yes, this is a Golem is, at least as far as I know, Jewish folklore. And Laura wanted me to look more into this, and I did. I just didn't, write any of it down. But
there's these intelligent conversations.
But basically, a Golem, a Golem was a protector until it went rogue and had to be shut down. So I think what the creators were going for with the whole Golem thing is not for the Golem to actually come alive and become a protector or anything. But it was just one big metaphor for what was happening with Fatima. Fatima was turning into a monster. Fatima was essentially becoming a Golem. Because at first, Fatima became a protector. It stopped Smiley from killing Kenny. And at the end of this episode, saves Jade and Tabitha. And then, of course, probably turns full monster and will turn against the townspeople. So I'm thinking perhaps the Golem, the whole building of the Golem thing was just a giant metaphor for what Fatima was becoming. I don't love it because we still spent way too much time on it.
We spent 3 episodes showing Fatima building this thing.
Yes.
3 episodes. Multiple scenes per episode.
Yes.
I'm not happy with that at all. And I feel like we need to do something with it.
Yes.
And not just forget it exists, because that was too much time we spent on it for it to be just a metaphor.
Yes. And, my thought all along as we moved on was that it was going to be a narrative dead end. And if it does end up being a narrative dead end, that would prove me right. But that's not a case where I'd be happy to be right.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to waste time.
It was too much time. Yes. Too much time.
Even if they do something with it, it's too much time. Like, they could have condensed that down and used that time that they wasted on that doing something else.
Yeah.
Like something else that we, need to have resolved or move forward or so on and so forth. But yeah, okay. So she goes on to say, separately, I'm curious if anyone else noticed the person in the background standing still and slightly hunched over when Boyd chased Victor out to the main road before arresting him. This person appears to be activated by someone moving behind them, or the Boyd Victor action and their movements looked unnatural. Am I just making more of something, or has that happened before? It's the first time I thought, oh, an NPC, but I remember you all talking about the NPCs in other podcast episodes. Yeah, I was supposed to go back and look at that, but I didn't actually do it.
I don't know what they're referring to, but I will point out that it's not uncommon for background actors to just be looking kind of weird. Because they're not really actors.
Right.
Right? Especially if there's somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience doing this.
Yes.
It's possible that you're going to catch them just feeling off because they don't know what to do with their bodies when they're supposed to be acting natural. Sometimes. Gotcha. Like, there's definitely, things you can point at in television history where that's the case.
All right, last comment, and I think we're like an hour into this thing.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, pretty close. From Vianne, she commented on our Season 2, Episode 2 podcast from long ago, though weirdly it also applies to this episode.
Okay.
She says, if someone is coughing blood, their lungs are filling up with their own blood, and it's a nasty way to go. I'm pretty sure she was referring to Brick in that episode. But she could also be referring to Elgin and the way he goes out in this episode.
Well, they wouldn't have seen that yet when making that comment.
No. They did not know about that, but it still applies to this episode the same.
Okay.
That's all I have for comments for this episode. We're actually going to get into our podcast now.
Well, I have a couple more things I want to talk about.
Okay. I just want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Leave your comments, about the season 4 finale. About season 4 in general, but what do you like about the season? What didn't you like? Are you satisfied with what we got? Leave them, and we are going to do a separate podcast where we go over your comments and maybe even bring up things that we did not bring up in this podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Knowing this fandom, the Fromily,
yes.
There's going to be lots and lots and lots of conversations still happening for the next year.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody in this community is just going to stop talking about From.
Right. No. So whatever you have to say, leave it leave the comments, and we will definitely discuss your comments when we meet again.
Okay, so a couple more things before we get into the meat of episode 10.
Okay.
That people have been talking about that I just want to kind of bring into the conversation is a lot of talk about that Polaroid picture.
Okay. Yes.
I saw people speculating that the girl in the foreground is Clara.
Okay. Yes.
No. Yeah, basically. Clara would be 60 years old now if she was alive in the 60s or early 70s when this photo clearly was taken.
I mean, maybe there's a possibility that the man in yellow kept her young.
That is a possibility, that the deal has been going on for decades, and that's part of it, is keeping her a certain age. But if that's the case, why wouldn't they have kept her the exact same age? Why wouldn't they have kept her, a smaller body size? These are things you'd want if you have, some sort of immortality.
Right.
You wouldn't, I'm going to age you to 30 and then stop.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also, related but not, is people are even more convinced now after episode 9 somehow that Clara is Eloise.
Also no,
right? I guess I could see it possible. I don't think so, but I again in this episode I feel like we really confirm that the deal is as straightforward as they made it sound in episode 9, because she's like, I'm going to offer you, Elgin, the same deal I offered Clara, right? Just help me and I'm going to let you live or whatever.
Go home.
Go home, yeah, but first you got to live in order to go home.
Fair enough.
Which, by the way, same deal we were offered to Sarah how many times, and, we shouldn't believe that.
This would be Elgin's second time getting this offer.
Right. There's no reason we should believe that part of its makes any sense. But anyways, the thought that some people have is that Eloise is Clara, and she has been here since they were kids and whatever, and that maybe the deal was made with Clara with Eloise when Eloise was a little girl.
Okay.
But still, the age is wrong. It doesn't work.
Yes.
For the same reasons that this photograph cannot be Clara.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense unless we're also involving story walking, and I guess there are ways it could be possible, but it feels like very convoluted theory that we don't have time for.
Okay.
Right? With
Yes.
10 episodes left,
Right. No.
that's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much. And I mean, I'm all for there being some timey-wimey stuff going on. Love it. And I still have Julie theories. And I'm not against the idea that Eloise was also a story walker and could have gotten lost in time.
Yes.
But I don't think that ends up her being Clara. I can't fit all that together in my head to be the best story. And also, if the girl in the photo was Eloise, she would have been, like, not born yet or a baby.
Mm-hmm. Because
the photo, again, is clearly before Victor got here.
Yes.
Which is another thing I saw so many people confused about. They're like, Victor hasn't seen Sophia yet because this photograph proves they were there at the same time. No.
How does it prove that
this
they were
photo
there at
is
the same time?
before Victor's time? This is earlier.
In the 70s at some point.
It's either really early 70s or late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Before Victor got there. And we were told as soon as, Marrielle transformed into when the Marrielle transformed into Sophia, we were told the reason he did that was because he was going to be recognized as Marrielle.
Yes.
He wouldn't have transformed into Sophia if Sophia could have been recognized by Victor.
Right.
Which tells me real Sophia from that Polaroid died before Victor got to town.
Yes.
That just seems very obvious to me. But there's a huge conversation going on in the fandom where people are like, oh, he's never seen her, and we're waiting for it. No, he's seen her. They've shared, like, at least 3 scenes together. He was literally there when she was pulled out of the car, counting heads. They were at the funeral together. They were in the diner at the same time after the funeral.
Yes.
Causing a commotion. They were both there at the same time. He 100% has seen her. Plus, she slept at Colony House. She was there for the big meeting. He wasn't in the room, but there was every possibility he could have been. She wasn't hiding from him.
Right.
So just to shut that down. The photograph was earlier, which also, I think, goes into this conversation we were having about, like, what's happening between the game. Like, these were people who were here before Miranda was there.
Yes.
Could Christopher... Well, no, we were told Christopher came to town, too. So
right.
It's not like
same day, probably.
It's not like Christopher had been there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But people were there.
Yes.
They were clearly there before them, so... I mean, I don't know.
It sucks to be them because they have zero prayer of escaping because Tabitha and Christopher... Oh, I'm completely scared of that. Yes. They had not yet arrived.
Unless they could have survived for years. I mean, Donna survived for 3 years, so...
So they could have...
Was she always meant to?
Right.
Or was she just lucky that she survived when other people didn't? I don't know. Anyways... my whole thing about the Sophia's dress in the picture looking like Mrs. Lou's, that became a topic, so I was proud of that I wasn't the only person who came up with that it was close enough people are talking about it. But I will refer to last week where it's not the same dress, but it is close enough that it became a topic of discussion. And something that people were bringing up, which didn't come into fruition in episode 10, but I kind of wish it had because it makes so much sense, is pointing out how we've been told the trees are moving.
Yes. I mean, people are talking about that. People
are talking about that, but it didn't happen.
Oh, yes.
Where when they pulled the tree...
Within the episode itself.
When they pulled the tree, people are saying, oh, they're going to pull the tree, and it's not going to be where they think it is because the tree's moved.
Right.
But that's not how it plays out. It plays out where that tree is perfectly over the hole like they expect it to be.
Right.
But it would have made a lot of sense if it was off, right? Because we keep being told the trees are moving. And even this tree, when Victor first brought Tabitha there in, when was it? The end of season 2?
Yes.
And she goes through the bottle tree for the first time. He couldn't find it. He said it's not where it's supposed to be.
Right.
And then they found it, like, off a distance. It would have made so much sense if the bottle tree did move and it's not over the chamber when they pull it. But that's not what happened.
Right.
But I like that idea. And I kind of wish they had played with that a little more, because we did have that dialogue given to us of the tree's not where Victor thinks it is.
Right. Okay.
So that just kind of became nothing, right? Because it is where it's supposed to be. It's where it's been for 500 years.
Yes.
So episode 10!
Episode 10. So tell me, Stacie, your thoughts on episode 10.
I really enjoyed this episode. It's not everything I expected. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get on with some things. And I'm a little scared that we only have 10 episodes left. And I still have 1,000 questions. But if you look at the episode in isolation, I enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed the season. I'm annoyed that we have to wait a year now. And I'm a little scared that we're going to pull this off in 10 episodes.
Yeah, and I would say that there is definitely reasons for concern. I thought this was a great episode. I also enjoyed the season. You're leaving an awful lot of narrative weight for season 5 to cover all the things that we want to see.
Yeah.
You only have 10 episodes left. I mean, based on every single thing that they have left to answer, there's no room for build-up episodes. Like,
right.
Definitely not as many as you had this
We
season.
need to just keep going at the
Yes.
pace that episode 10 is at.
Yes.
And just stay there the next 10 episodes.
Right.
We need to have a 10-episode climax.
Right. You can't just, have slow burn episodes and leading up to, one fantastic episode and then leading to another fantastic. You can't have 3 episodes. You cannot leave all these narrative questions to 3 episodes. You need to be answering questions right along.
Yeah.
And I've seen some negativity about, they're not going to pull this off. They're not going. I don't understand why you would spend time investing in a TV show without some faith that the writers are going to deliver. And I have that faith. I do. It's a tall order. It really is.
Yeah.
There's 3 possibilities here. Either you have a great finale that wraps up every question that you have, wraps up all the bows, everything is neatly tied up, and it ends up being one of the classic sci-fi shows for the ages. Or you have a middle ground thing where it's a satisfying finale, where it wraps up some of the questions but still leaves some things hanging that people want to know. Mm-hmm. Or you have a completely terrible finale that doesn't answer anything and completely damages the entirety of the series, the reputation of the series, and the legacy of the series.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the more likely scenario is we end up in the middle with a good finale.
I agree. That's where we likely are going to be.
But I still have hope that they will end with a great finale that is going to make this one of the best sci-fi shows of all time. Maybe not, but I have to have that hope. But there's a lot of things that we want to know. There's a lot of threads. A lot of threads that we have to wrap up and get answers to in season 5, in 10 episodes.
Yeah, I feel like we're not going to get everything I want to see.
No.
I feel like that's where it is. But
right.
I do still have faith that they're going to tell a compelling story.
Yes.
When it comes down to it. Before we get into scene by scene, I do want to address the rumor that was going into episode 10.
I almost thought that we should do that at the top, but there's no point because it's not.
I didn't want to give it top billing,
right?
But we should bring it up that this is something that has happened.
There's a couple of things that we can talk about with that.
Of course, there was a rumor that this was going to be a 90-minute extended episode, and of course, we knew that it wasn't because we had already seen it before this rumor even came out.
Yes.
And as of when we're recording, which is several days before the episode airs, that rumor is still being spread, and by the time anybody's listening to this, it's going to have been squashed because it's not an extended episode. And I think our listeners we talked about it last week even, so our listeners already knew before the rumor even came out, because we had talked about runtime in episode 9.
Right.
Like, we had looked ahead, like, how long is this episode? We had anticipated this being a discussion point.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time on Facebook wasting my energy.
Me as well.
Trying to contradict this and saying, no, this is misinformation, you're lying, the episode is not that long.
So the problem is the rumor started wherever the rumor started, and then it got perpetuated. And once people start making posts and sharing it and claiming it to be truth, Google AI treats it as truth. So now when you look it up, Google says, yeah, it's 90 minutes. It's the longest episode of ever or from. Because they're grabbing, and then you look at their sources, and it's a Reddit post, a Facebook post. There's no real
official sources.
No official sources. And then people are like, MGM is lying to us, and that's false advertising if it's not true. MGM never, ever, ever once in any way, shape, or form indicated it's an extended episode. The guide right now, and this is again several days before it actually happens, says the episode airs on their linear channel Sunday night from 9 to 10, like always.
Yes.
There is no indication even of anything like weird happening like last year, which I won't get into details, but we had thought that might be the case. No. There's nothing coming from MGM in any way to indicate where the heck this rumor started.
Right. And this rumor doesn't do anything but hurt the series.
100%. Because people are going in with an expectation, and even if they love the episode, they're going to be like, well, wait, where's the rest of it? And then be pissed off that they were, quote, lied to.
Yes. Even though the people they were being lied to had nothing to do with MGM.
Right.
There was another rumor that I also saw that I'm pretty sure you're also aware of, where they kept saying that the episode was going to air on Friday, the 26th.
I saw that. I didn't see that being spread as much, though, as the 90-minute one.
I got to ask, why do people do this shit?
Yeah, because trolls.
Yes.
For same reasons that they do any of the stuff they do.
Right.
And, it's funny because, like, I know you've had the same experience where we're trying to tell people, hey, limit your expectations. It's under 49 minutes long, this episode.
Yes.
It's a regular episode of television. And then we're getting people, like, not the people spreading the rumor, but the people believing the rumor are taking it as fact and telling us we're full of shit and we're lying and you don't know it. There's no possible way you could know. You haven't seen the episode.
Right.
And you know what? I'm hopeful that at some point during this discourse we found a new viewer or two who came to listen to us who didn't know we exist.
Right.
Possibly. And if that's your case, hey, welcome to the show.
Drop your comments. We'll shout you out next week.
But it's like, yeah, we do. We have screeners.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how to explain it to you. No, I can't give you spoilers. That's very illegal. I'd like to keep our screeners and not get a fine.
Yeah,
I don't breaking embargo.
I don't want to go to jail. No, thank you.
There are people out there who did. I mean, there have been spoilers for this episode out there.
Yeah, and
somebody spoiled.
I don't think I need to reiterate my feelings against those people that I think they're giant pieces of shit. Anyone doing anything, spreading like
it wasn't as bad this year as last year.
No, they had like full episode recaps of like
that stuff existed.
Yeah.
I have seen it for this episode.
All right.
But it is not anywhere near as widespread as it was last year. When before this season even started, people had everything spoiled. I think part of it's because MGM did take their time giving them to us this year. They didn't release them all at once. They didn't release the finale until like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like they had stopped at episode 9, even in the second run. But regardless, like whoever breaks that embargo, they deserve to get caught. They deserve to get not only taken off of the privilege of having press screeners, but they do deserve the fine that is, threatened out there. Like, do anybody ever actually get fines for these things? They need to.
Yes, absolutely.
They need to. But we're not going to jeopardize our position in the television entertainment community by doing something like that.
Right.
So, no, I'm not going to prove to anybody that I've seen the episode. The proof is when this is going to drop 5 minutes after the episode becomes available.
Right.
Our 3 hours that we're about to spiel to you is available 5 minutes after it came out. So unless we have a time machine where we watched it, took notes, recorded it, and then dropped it, yes, we get them early.
Yes.
The evidence is right there on the YouTube channel when you can see what time our discussions drop.
Right.
There should be no question about that. But if people are going to want to believe some ridiculous AI picture that says, oh, here's proof that, this happens and that happens, that it's a 90-minute episode, versus somebody who's like, hey, listen, that's not the case. And if you just take a second to look at our credentials, you'd realize that we're telling the truth.
Right. Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. It's just another way in which everything is going to crap.
Yeah.
As far as like media sources and just the sheer amount of garbage that's out there.
It's so bad right now.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where you can't believe anything you see.
Right.
And it makes me grateful that we are in the position we're in, where we have screeners, we have press releases coming to us from different networks about different shows. Because you don't know what to believe if you're seeing anything from a third party.
Right.
Like, even if it looks like a news source, you don't know if you can trust them.
Right.
Which is so sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad. But unless it's coming from the network itself directly, you can't trust it.
Right. All right. Should we get into the episode scene by scene, diving in?
We probably should.
Okay.
Welcome to our podcast. If you're still here, hi. We probably should put some chapters up on this one.
Probably. All right. Tabitha and Jade get to work while being watched by the monsters. Back on the surface, the crew awaits for a signal. Ella says, Dad. Boyd says to give them a moment. Acosta pipes in to say they've been down there for a while, and Boyd is about to flip out on her, but Acosta says, okay, don't yell at me,
Yeah, they're
please.
getting a little impatient.
Right,
What are we doing? It's taking them too long.
They continue to grab the bones, and Jade tells Tabitha not to think about what they are. Boyd gets everyone ready. We see Randall in the background. Kristy is in her normal outfit. Asks Boyd what plan B is. Boyd says there is no plan B. If you want birth control, you're shit out of luck. Tabitha tells Jade they should signal Boyd. And Jade says, nope, the second the tree is down, Tabitha needs to get up with the bones. You lied about the bones protecting the chamber. Jade says the cycle needs to end, and she and her kids deserve to go home. You will stall them, the monsters, long enough for her to get out. It's interesting. None of that actually happens. Did Jade actually mean this, or is this like some kind of weird way of getting into her pants?
I'm pretty sure he meant it until he realized the light thing.
Oh, okay.
When he was like, oh, wait, maybe we both can get out.
Right.
But he was fully willing to sacrifice himself. At least for a second, I think he was.
It is pretty snipping of Jade's character to be willing to do that.
Yeah.
Because he's been, even in this season, Tabitha gave him a bunch of shit for being basically like, you only care about yourself.
I think part of it is he has gotten his memories back, at least to some extent. So he realizes, like, this is a quest he's been on for 500 years. This is what he's meant to do.
Gotcha. And maybe he has some feelings for Tabitha, having had her as a wife at one point, for real.
Yeah, I do. Later in the episode, he does, like, make a comment to her, like, how he's glad that he got to spend all of his lifetimes with her. Over and over again. They keep coming back together.
Jade prepared to send the signal and says he's glad he says it right here. Says he's glad it was her he spent all those lifetimes with. And yeah, there's nobody he'd rather spend all those lifetimes with.
Yeah, I definitely think we're setting up for some Tabitha in season 5.
Finally, okay. Boyd gets a signal. They start pulling the tree with the truck. The monsters removed the plastic as they were no longer protected by the talismans. Up top, they struggle to get the tree down. The cowboy monster down below says, well, isn't it nice, all of us being together again?
Yeah, which points back to them being part of the original settlement.
Yes.
And the ones who broke the deal.
Yes. They finally do as the monsters draw closer. And then cowboy creature steps back when exposed to the light, making Tabitha realize they can't come into the light, and this is a revelation. We did not know this for sure.
Right, there was always speculation that they couldn't come out during the day, but it was never confirmed that it was a hard and fast rule that they couldn't, and now we're basically being told they physically cannot go in the sunlight. We don't see what happens, like are they going to burn like a vampire? We don't know, but they are not willing to expose themselves to the sunlight.
Jade takes the bones and tells Tabitha as he sends her up that they are both getting out of here. But they hit the part of the ladder that Sophia sabotaged and they fall. And then the day turns to night, freaking everyone out. The monsters advance again, But then the earth starts shaking, and then we have our credits. Que sera, sera. That was the opening credits. That's wild.
That was the opening sequence. Now, we don't actually see, like, an eclipse. People have been talking about an eclipse for years now. We don't actually see, like, why the light goes out, why the sun goes out. But the sun went out.
Yes.
Right? We don't see that it's because of a moon or this or that. So we don't know what physically is happening. But it is dark outside, like it's nighttime, which is bad. And then the earthquake. Now, my thought is that the man in yellow caused the sun to go out.
Sure.
To help the creatures. And then the boy in white caused the earthquake.
Oh, okay.
To slow the creatures down and
that
give Jade and Tabitha a chance. I feel like this is both of them
fighting against each other,
like,
almost?
doing what they can to affect the game.
Gotcha. When we come back, earthquake in progress, and I don't really think you can call it an earthquake because we're not convinced that this is actually Earth. But
ground shaking.
Yes. Kenny frees Victor from his confinement. Victor yells at Kenny, asking, "Why didn't you listen to me about the tree?" Yep, I'm thinking he probably wishes that he had. Tabitha and Jade escape through a crevice in the wall that is newly formed thanks to the earthquake, or whatever, the shaking, whatever. Boyd calls for the pair. We hear the monsters screeching. Randall points out that they can't be out in the open like this. Boyd wants to go down there despite everyone, including Ellis and Acosta and Kristy, saying they need to go now.
Yeah, Jade and Tabitha really should have screamed something up.
Right. Hey, we're going into this crevice here. You guys don't wait up.
Like, we'll meet you at the cave entrance.
Right.
Is the plan. Not like just stand in the woods calling us.
Patty is starting to panic, as she will for a good chunk of this episode.
Oh, Patty.
Yeah, she somehow survives this episode.
I 100% thought Patty not only was going to die, but was going to get people killed. And I'm amazed that that didn't happen.
Boyd doesn't want to listen until the monsters start advancing on them. Boyd orders everyone to the vehicles. Patty just sits there panicking. Boyd has to drag her along, shooting at a few of the monsters along the way, despite the fact that we know that those bullets are very ineffective. Jade and Tabitha continue to be pursued by the monsters and end up at a dead end. And this looks like we see like these wooden planks or something like that.
It's like bars.
Like a grate or something like that. This is where we were when I think we're on the opposite side of where Tabitha and Victor were when they saw that grate and the first introduction of the freaky kids.
Right. The ghoulish,
ghastly children.
The Anghkooey kids.
Yes.
Before we knew that word.
Yep.
It's like they're one of their like prison cells or whatever.
Maybe.
That Tabitha and Jade are now in. And those, it's like they're wood, but it's clearly meant to be like a bar to block that from being an actual entrance or exit.
The monsters appear to be about to get them when another quake seals them in. As Acosta drives, Patty continues to panic and be extremely annoying, by the way. Boyd tries to calm her down, saying they made things... And yeah, she basically says, you know what, we made things worse. She calls him a liar. And then a monster jump scares them outside the car. Distracted for a moment, Patty ends up grabbing for Boyd's gun and tries to kill herself. But she can't even get that right. She only succeeds in killing a window.
Yeah. This is the second time we're having a panicked while in the van scene in this series. And I love it.
Yes.
You remember the first one was during season 2.
The big episode?
Pas de deux, which I'm probably saying wrong. Mm-hmm. The episode where, we were going to the clinic because Ellis got stabbed. And we had a very similar scene where we're driving in the van. And so this reminded me a lot of that, where we're in the van while it's driving through the woods.
Marrielle and Fatima at the clinic. Fatima wants to go out there as Marrielle cleans up. She says, what, you want to go out there and get yourself killed? Only Fatima is in absolutely no danger whatsoever. Fatima wants to know what's going on with her, but then she starts having smiley vision of him approaching the clinic. Fatima says the thing she gave birth to is coming to the clinic. And Marrielle says, it's okay. We're protected by the the talisman isn't hanging there anymore.
It fell off during the quake.
Right. They desperately try to get it off the floor and back into the window, but they do not do so in time. Smiley comes to the door. The girls run to another room, try to put up the talisman there, but again, they do not do it in time. Marrielle holds up a knife, keeping Fatima back when it really should be the other way around. Fatima should be in front because, again, she is in no actual
They
danger.
don't know that, though.
Right. Smiley says, Mommy!
Mother, he said.
Mother, okay, fine. But either way, I laughed because it's really funny because when we were interviewing Jamie McGuire, we made that joke like, hey, if you ever see the actress Pega on set, do you call her mommy? And of course he's like, no. But he actually freaking says it in this episode. He calls her mommy.
He specifically
Mother.
said to us, only if it's in the script. Thank you.
You're right.
John and Jeff for putting it in the script.
Yes.
Thank you. And also, it's reminiscent of Psycho.
Okay.
And Norman Bates,
Yes.
calling out Mother.
Yes. He slices open Marrielle's stomach. Fatima makes...
Guts hanging everywhere.
Yeah. Fatima makes monster noises, and Smiley says, interesting, before leaving. Fatima tries to go to Marrielle's aid, but Marrielle tells her to stay the heck away from her. Fatima says she isn't going to hurt her and tries to help. And she looks a little bit beyond it to me.
Yeah, Marielle's like, I'm fine. Yeah,
Right.
No, girl, you're not fine.
No, you're currently... when the contents of your stomach are hanging out of your body, that's not a good sign.
No.
So she's in some serious denial there.
And you know what? I meant to do this at the top, but we had an hour of other things to talk about. And that was before we started watching this episode. We had kind of taken bets on who we thought was going to die during the episode.
Yep.
Now, I had originally said, I think Marrielle is in trouble.
Okay.
And then I changed my mind. I was like, well, wait, no. She's safe. I said she's got plot armor. Because we still have to resolve the 3. That's still hanging. And then they did this.
Yes.
So I'm very confused and concerned about what's going on with that plot line because it is not done.
No.
I have some ideas of where they could go. But I was shocked that they actually killed her because she was on my list originally, and then I had changed my mind thinking she was safe, and I guess nobody's ever safe.
So the truck that includes Ellis, Kristy, and Randall returns to the clinic.
It was Ellis, Kristy, Randall, and 2 unnamed people who we had seen at the tree. And it's funny because they all go in the clinic door, and then those 2 unnamed people disappear. We never see them inside the building once they enter.
Maybe Smiley got them.
They were just gone. We never see them again.
They pass Smiley and start to freak. They run into the clinic, and nobody secures it, by the way. Nobody puts up a talisman. Nobody closes the door, even. And Marrielle is not looking too good here, with Fatima next to her. Marrielle asks for a goodbye kiss, while Fatima goes to try and get something to help Kristy.
She goes to get Kristy's bag.
Which Kristy grants. She kisses her, and then Marrielle dies. We cut to Elgin, still alive at the diner. That was a surprise. I was actually really surprised to see Elgin still alive, and this is 19 minutes into the episode, by the way. Sophia is offering him a deal to go home, like she did Clara, who's hanging in the back. She asks him if he knows why it's dark outside. Sophia says, do you... Oh, yeah. I guess I already just said that. It gets messy in the end. Elgin tries to sneak out the back, but Clara stands in his way and, does this little horrified no. Sophia asks, where do you think you're going? There is nowhere for you to hide, and corners him in the back. She makes him give her his hands and says, I'm going to ask you one more time. Would you like to accept my bargain? In response, Elgin starts praying, and Sophia looks amused. You people and your prayers, before he starts making him die. Blood oozing out everywhere, and yep, that's the end of Elgin. And yeah, a lot of people, by the way, on Facebook were raking him over the coals for being really stupid. Yeah. There were also people who came to his defense and like, you know what? Is what he did any worse than what this person did? No, it's not a moral question. It's a question of intelligence.
Right.
You see a photo, you know you're looking for something odd. You find a picture of somebody who shouldn't be in a picture, and then you go and show that person the picture.
Yeah.
Like,
But I also feel like it's in character for Elgin to do something stupid.
Yes, unfortunately. Elgin
He's
was...
a dumb teenager.
I don't even think he's a teenager. I
Well,
think he's
whatever.
in his 20s.
He's-
But either
He's
way,
a kid.
when
For us, from our perspective.
when you're young, you're pretty dumb. But man, I would like to think as a 20-year-old, I wouldn't have been this dumb.
I don't know, Dave.
Maybe I was pretty stupid back then.
She is a pretty girl.
Mm-hmm.
There's
All
that
right.
too.
All right, fair enough. That would have probably short-circuited my brain for sure, and might still, to be honest with you. But that's besides the point.
So yeah, she basically pulls the life force right out of him by holding his hands. Now here's where he's dumb again, Elgin. Why did he not agree, even if he's not going to help her? Why did he not agree long enough to live for 5 more minutes and, I don't know, go expose her to somebody? Go tell somebody that Sophia is the problem.
All right.
Why are you letting her... You know you're going to die.
Yes.
But why not say what you need to say to try and live long enough to expose her
Fair enough.
before she kills you?
From Elgin's perspective, and he pretty much explained this a couple episodes ago when he was talking to Julie, about being tested by God. He sees this as a test by God, being tempted by the devil. And by not giving in to, taking this deal, he is in fact passing this test.
Yeah, but he could have been the one to save them all by exposing her.
Yes, unfortunately, if he were not in fact stupid or trapped by his ideology, his religion, he might have actually been able to save people. But unfortunately, that was not the case.
Yeah. Also want to point out that as soon as he died, the sun came back out.
Yes.
Now possibly meaning if it was Sophia, Man in Yellow, who was causing the sun to go out, possibly putting that energy now into killing Elgin.
Yeah, she seems...
is being used instead of using that energy to block the sun.
She seems surprised that the sun went up, and it's not like she was performing for anyone. Elgin's dead. Clara is up front. She didn't witness this. So at that point, that seems like a genuine reaction from her because she's performing for no one. So yeah, she comes out. She instructs Clara to get rid of the body. Clara asks, how? And Sophia's like, well, that's just not my problem. Clara asks, what happens now? Sophia responds, now she lights the match and watches it burn before leaving with a talisman from the diner. Okay, criticism of this episode as far as pacing is concerned and where we spend our narrative time. We see Sophia collecting talismans at least 5 times within this episode. Mm-hmm. We don't need to see it that much.
Well, I think they wanted us to make sure we knew she got all of them.
Okay, fair enough. But she collects it from the diner. Later on, Clara comes with a bag of talismans. And then at the end of the episode, they dump it down a tree, a whole bunch of them.
Right.
Is that not enough to make the point? Do we really need to see her get every single one of them?
I don't think we spent too much time on it, though.
All right, fair enough. But, I mean, in an episode that's 57 minutes long, you want to show every
49 minutes.
That's what I'm saying, though. This episode is not 57 minutes long. If it were that long, and we spent a little bit of time doing that, fine. But this episode is 49 minutes long. We don't need to see it every single time. Like a couple of times at best.
Well, we didn't see every time.
Okay, fair enough.
We saw like 5 out of 12.
I mean, but that's just still too many. we can make the point more concisely. Like I said, I do like this episode, but that is a little bit of a criticism.
Okay.
So, where am I? Okay, so Donna finds Henry, who marvels that it turned dark in the middle of the day, further cementing in his mind that none of this is real. Donna says, yep. She says he should go and see his son. Henry tidies up and then finds bullets and remembers his delusion saying that the dream would give him everything he needs to end the anchor and get out of this whole thing.
Yeah, and he asks Donna, like, why does Victor have bullets? And she explains that he used to carry a gun around, but Boyd took it away, and it's probably at the station.
Well, good job, Donna. Going chapter and bursts about everything that Henry actually needs to do, what he needs to do in this episode. Though I'm also a little disappointed in that it didn't go a little further with that, given the build-up. But Boyd goes to the clinic, talks to Randall, and okay, here's a really weird thing. Boyd was in the van.
Mm-hmm.
He says it's going up to Colony House. He decided to go to the clinic to make sure everyone was okay.
Yeah.
But we later see the band arriving at Colony House. So where the heck did the band drop Boyd off?
On the way.
Just like randomly somewhere? Why didn't they drive him to the clinic and then drive up there?
I'm assuming they didn't drop him too far from the clinic.
Okay.
I think the clinic's on the way.
All right. It just seems a little wonky to me. But, yeah. And Randall doesn't
Because
really...
remember, the sun's back out now, so it's
Right.
not dangerous to be walking around.
Right. Randall doesn't really answer the question. He just kind of snips. He does this weird snipping thing indicating that he's kind of
it's
upset.
not all right.
Yeah. Inside, Fatima is telling Eloise what happened, but leaving out a few things, I'm sure.
She did, definitely.
As Boyd rushes in. He goes to comfort Kristy, who is still holding Marrielle's body. Kristy cries, and, Boyd comforts her. And then we see lightning suddenly coming from the hole that they created. Randall reacts, startled as he sees it. Boyd, Ellis, and Fatima go outside to watch it.
Red lightning, by the way.
Yes. Also observing is Donna and Ethan and Julie at Colony House. Randall asks, "What the fuck did we do?" And we don't get a lot of character moments in this episode because we don't have really time for it. Mm-hmm. So the character beats are far and few between. Here's one of Randall that I found really amusing. The van returns home. Donna goes to the van, where she is told that Tabitha and Jade are missing by Acosta. We don't hear that, but we know that's what she's being told. We see Bacta and Patty exit the van. Ethan asks, "Where is Mom?" And Donna looks at them with this horrified little expression on her face because it's not good news.
I mean, for the last 4 or 5 episodes, Donna's been telling us, I don't want to be the one to have to tell your kids you died. Stop doing dangerous shit.
Right.
And now here she is in the position where she's the one having to deal with the kids when they think she's dead.
Right. Ethan's voice quivers when he asks, "Julie?" And then he runs into the house not being able to deal with this. Julie goes after him. Sophia goes to the church and takes a talisman. Henry goes to the sheriff's station and does not find Boyd or Kenny. He grabs a gun and then runs into Kenny, who thinks nothing of this little scene and lets Henry go on his merry way to try to kill Victor. Donna and Julie find Ethan at Colony House, the table. Donna starts to explain, but then poltergeist stuff starts happening.
So we got back to that. He wasn't abandoned forever, like some people were afraid.
Yes.
But it's not happening at their house. Now it's happening at Colony House.
It's following Julie and Ethan, so that has to be significant in some way.
Right. And Ethan even points out it's happening again. And, by the way, Donna doesn't question, what do you mean again?
Right. They basically leave the room, and that's the end of that shit. Ethan starts breaking down, saying he doesn't want to be alone forever. How Mom and Dad are gone, and soon Julie is going to be too. He's going to be left all alone. Julie says, "No, that's not going to happen. We're in this together." She's trying to comfort him, saying they are in this together and they will figure it out.
And they'll take care of each other.
Ethan says, "How?" And Julie admits she doesn't have a clue.
But she's being a better babysitter this episode than she has in the past.
Yes. Kenny finds Boyd and says, "Welp, that didn't go as we wanted it to do. You think?" Kenny asks Boyd, "What's next?" And Boyd doesn't know. Acosta comes back saying they have to go back. They were told the bones were their way out. And Boyd says, "Nope, we're done." And Acosta's like, what are you talking about? And I'm sorry, Boyd. He says that they lost 3 people today. Mm-hmm. He's going to be right, but he's actually wrong at this time.
Yeah, so he's referring to Marrielle, Tabitha, and Jade.
Yes. But he doesn't know about Elgin right now.
Right.
And we're not even sure that they're ever going to discover Elgin.
Yeah, they hadn't at this point, and presumably were hiding the body.
Yes.
So who knows what that's going
to
come out.
Boyd is 100% wrong here. He's like, he also points out, we just saw lightning in the sky, and who the fuck knows what that is? And certainly that's going to be a question that the audience is going to ask.
Right.
But Boyd, he's wrong. He thinks that they're just going to go back to the same well-intentioned defense that they've been running all along. When, no, I'm sorry, Boyd, that's over. You're in the fight for your lives now. you need to play this out to the end at this point. They did what they did, and now they have to see it through.
Right.
But yeah. So the only two that knew anything about the bones, because they don't know how to use them, went into the tunnel and didn't come out. The place got exactly what they wanted. Acosta continues to argue, saying they can't just give up. She's right. Boyd says they lost 3 people today. Again, he's wrong, but he's going to end up being right. He's just wrong about which people they lost. And then Sarah notices that they are getting a signal. Tabitha and Jade are making the signal until the thing dies, and they start trying to dig to get out of there.
I want to point out during that scene, Boyd changed from his bloody shirt into another clean one. How many versions of this same shirt does Boyd have, and why? Because this is like the 3rd or 4th time we've seen him changing from a bloody or ripped up shirt into a clean one, and they're all the exact same shirt.
Maybe he came with them. He says, 20 yellow
It
shirts.
feels significant that
Right.
he has an endless supply of this same shirt.
Yes.
It makes it feel like it's not real, like it's a video game.
Right.
That he literally, every time his shirt's bloody, puts on a clean version of the same exact shirt.
Yes.
And I don't understand it. It feels significant
Right.
that they show us that over and over again.
Ellis and Randall take Marielle's body out of the clinic. Boyd runs up to the clinic, and Randall takes Marielle himself, but Kristy also goes down to the church, and Boyd says anything she needs, and Kristy, who's still in shock, says, yeah. All right, so why is... I get that Kristy is also going, but it's not like she's actually helping Randall. Why is he doing this himself? Every time we've ever seen like a scene like this, there's been more than just the one.
Everyone's kind of busy. He's just, being the strong guy.
My other question is, why is Boyd running here? He knows about the signal. He's about to tell Ellis and Fatima.
Yeah.
He does not intend to take them with him.
He wants to make sure they know, though.
Okay, fair enough. And secondly, why are Acosta, Kenny, and Sarah all agreeing to sit out of that? Why are they not also trying to go to the tunnels with him?
Were they in that scene?
They were. Sarah was the one that pointed out the signal.
Right, but
They were not in the tunnels at the end.
But they weren't. They didn't. So they were at the station.
Yes, when they got the signal.
Right. But then we didn't see them again.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So why did... Well, okay.
Yeah, what are they doing?
Yeah. Okay, Boyd, you go yourself. Why would they do that?
Maybe
why would they even agree to that?
Maybe they went back to the woods to be on the top side of the hole.
Maybe we don't see them at the hole.
Well, because Acosta's saying we have to go back to get the bones. And if they think the bones are still in that chamber, I don't know.
All right. So Boyd tells Ellis and Fatima that they got a signal from the tunnels. Ellis and Fatima both say they are coming. This is Ellis stepping up, agreeing to do something. Ellis gets dragged over the coals for being useless on a constant basis within the fandom on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't understand it necessarily. I don't understand why there's so much hatred directed at Ellis of all people. I mean, he's not my favorite character or anything like that, but he's not overly offensive. He's just wallpaper. He's just kind of there for the most part. So the Ellis hatred seems a little bit over the top to me, but maybe someone who does not like Ellis can explain that to me. If you don't like Ellis, please explain your reasoning here, or in the comments. All right. So yeah, Boyd argues, but Ellis isn't having it. And Fatima says she can tell them when they're close by like a monster detector. Sophia goes to the police station. We see her take the talisman again.
But this is a good thing to point out that you were questioning where did everybody else go. They're not in the station anymore. Mm-hmm. So where did they went somewhere?
They just decided to fuck
Acosta
off.
and Sarah and Kenny.
Right.
They went somewhere.
What are they doing?
I don't know. That's a really good question, though. They're not still at the station.
I do not see... Oh, we got a signal? Okay, so we're just going to go home now? Like, why would they not... Even if Boyd said, no, I'm doing this alone, why would they agree to that?
They probably, I would guess, went to make a plan and do whatever their plan was, and then Boyd was like, I'm going to go do it first. and didn't tell them that he was going to go do it.
Okay. I mean, we don't see any of that,
right?
So that's fan-making on your part.
I feel like they don't know he's going because they wouldn't have just sat back.
So they realize that there's a signal, and then Boyd just leads them without any further discussion. They don't say, okay, well, I guess we're going to go rescue them now. Nothing.
Maybe they went to get more people or to get tools or...
Maybe.
And then, meanwhile, Boyd's, like, running in.
Okay. Henry loads his gun, and Victor comes in. Henry hides the gun.
Why is Victor knocking on his own bedroom door, by the way?
Yeah, that is a little weird. Right. Victor says today was scary. And then Victor asks if he did something wrong. He blames himself as his dad was happy before. You know, they had become roommates and he was all happy to be here. But then he showed him the picture of the man in yellow and he ruined it. Henry says, no, he didn't ruin it. The problem is none of this is real. Henry explains to him as he raises the gun and Victor tries to beg him not to do it. Exactly why he's doing it. The only thing that saves him in this moment, and I don't know why Ethan is here either. Ethan does not know where his mother is. I mean, I guess that can be why.
Ethan was in the house,
Yeah,
and now
fair
he's... I'm sure he saw Victor come in,
Gotcha.
and he's just going to talk to Victor.
But yeah, Ethan calls for Victor. Henry points the gun at Ethan, and you were totally scared that he...
I 100% thought Ethan was about to get shot.
Yeah.
I think I squealed in this scene.
You did. I can attest to that. Giving Victor enough of a distraction to knock the gun out of his hands and basically tackle him. Victor yells at him, telling him, you said you were going to protect me, and instead you do this. And, Henry is just sitting there crying. So, this leaves Victor and Henry in kind of a very sad place.
Yeah, and this is, I think, the wrap on them for the season.
Yeah.
This scene.
And that pretty much torches their relationship.
Yeah, where are we going to be with that next?
Right.
What are we going to do with Henry? Like, he's literally trying to kill people.
Yeah, I mean, based on how this episode ends, locking him up is a little bit impractical.
Yeah.
But he's a major liability at this point. You can't trust him. I mean, is Henry still going to believe that this is a delusion?
Right.
Is he still going to be trying to kill
Victor?
Victor?
We're not given any resolution on how he's feeling about this.
Right.
But this definitely felt like somebody was getting shot in this scene, and I'm kind of surprised that Victor was able to kind of diffuse the situation the way he did.
Yeah, without anybody dying or getting shot.
Right.
And like I said, this relationship is pretty much torched. Scorched earth. So Sophia goes to Tom's bar, takes the talisman. Clara gives her the bag, which contains the rest of them, and basically says, "See you later, Clara." And I think that might be a wrap on Clara for the season.
Yep.
Boyd is outside the tunnels. He tells Fatima and Eloise that if anything goes wrong, the two of them run. No questions, no arguments. Tabitha and Jade. Tabitha suggests using the bones to dig, and she sees the skull and realizes that this one is
their daughter.
Yes, their daughter.
And we see a flashback to the actress that played her, Isabella Del Deegan, although she is not credited in this episode.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if they're gonna do a different actress for that, because
they've already replaced most of the Anghkooey kids. We're up to 15 different kids we've seen now, so I'm curious if we're going to focus on that character again, because that actress obviously must be a lot bigger by now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we have to, but that we have to see their daughter for this to have any emotional resonance at all.
Yeah.
Like, we have to see that scene play out.
Here's the thing. Just last episode, we saw supposedly all 7 Anghkooey kids.
Right.
One of them was supposed to be her, but
yeah.
it wasn't. So.
Right. Yeah. The monsters cry out, and Fatima says to Boyd and Ellis that they know where they are. And they end up finding the pair as they are making noises. Boyd ends up shooting one of the things keeping them in there. They end up getting out. Fatima realizes that they are here and tells them that they need to go. She can buy them time. And Ellis is asking, like, what are you talking about?
She says, remember who I was.
Yes.
She knew. She already had a full understanding of what was about to happen.
The monsters come. Fatima transforms into a monster and roars at the monster, and they have some type of conversation. And Ellis needs to be dragged away by Boyd. And that's the end of Fatima for the season. Actually, I think that's a wrap on most of them, except for Sophia, who's walking in the forest with her bag. She sees the boy in white and says, "Oh, look at you, all grown up." The boy in white says, "They have the bones." Sophia responds, "But the bottle tree is gone." I gotta ask, what is the significance of that? Does it like regrow for the next cycle?
I don't think so.
They're basically screwing the next cycle because now, I mean, presuming they don't, survive this time and win, would that mean that would mean that they would not have access to that bottle tree? They would not be able to get back to, I mean, maybe they still could. They'd just have to do it the long way, get to the tower,
right, to
get back to the real world. Presuming that's a necessary step in how things play out. But yeah, basically, by removing the bottle tree, they screw the next cycle.
Okay, finish the seed, and then we can talk.
Okay. I think I'm going around in circles anyway. But anyway. So the boy in white declares that she is going to lose this time. So Sophia says she's always admired his optimism, and she guesses they will see before dumping the talismans down the tree. Goodbye, talismans.
And that was a great shot where the camera is watching the talismans fall down onto it through the faraway tree. And of course, this isn't the bottle tree. This is one of the other faraway trees.
And that is where the episode ends. Okay, so as of now, where things stand, the bottle tree is gone. The talismans are gone. Elgin is dead. Marrielle is dead. Fatima is now a monster.
Yep.
Yeah. And Victor and Henry's, their relationship is torched. He's a liability at this point, Henry.
Right. We have the bones.
Yes.
We don't know what we're supposed to do with the bones.
Yes.
And there's no talisman.
Right.
But nobody knows that yet.
Yeah, so the first time they go to, for a nighttime, presuming nobody knows talismans are gone, they're going to try to go activate the talisman, and they're not going to be there. So they're not going to be protected.
I mean, I really, really, really hope the next episode picks up right here and we don't skip any of this.
Yes. A lot of people are going to die.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure, season 5 has to be a bloodbath every episode at this point.
Yeah. All right, so one thing I want to talk about, Fatima becoming a monster.
Before we get into our discussion, I just want to look at our cast list and go over all that stuff. Make sure we gave everybody their due. All of our main cast was in this episode. Good.
Yes.
The creatures that were credited this week: Western Star, played by Will Lang; cheerleader Jennifer McPherson again; Professor Andrew DeRoss. He actually does background on Sullivan's Crossing, I learned this week.
Oh, okay.
And he was a grip on Sullivan's Crossing and You're Killing Me.
Oh.
It means he works in the electrical department.
That's cool.
Tough Guy, who is played by Lee Merrick, and I don't think we've ever talked about him before. He was in What We Dreamed of Then, which was Taylor Olson's movie. He was in an episode of The Trades and 2 episodes of Digstown. And, of course, we had Smiley Jamie Maguire. We also had townsperson number 3 in this episode, and I did not point out when we saw her, but that's Kristen Antaya. Now, we have seen her before. She was in 401. She is the person who was sent to the clinic to get Kristy after the crash.
Okay.
And then rode back in the ambulance with them.
Oh, yes.
I don't recall seeing her this episode, and I certainly don't recall seeing her have a line, but she was credited. And then, of course, our regular returning people. We've got Boy in White, Patty, and Clara, as far as recurring cast members. So nobody actually knew, but a couple people we hadn't really talked about.
Patty, as played by Trina Corkum, survived the season.
Patty survived the season? I'm shocked.
She's probably going to make it to the end.
To everybody in this cast who has made it to season 5, congratulations. That is a feat.
Yes.
It's a feat that you're going into production for the last season. And as I said, I think we're going to start dropping like flies every episode. I think most people, if not everybody's going to die by the end of the season.
Yes.
Even if we win, I don't think it's going to be a lot of people that survive. So I'm kind of excited to see a lot of really awesome death scenes next season.
All right, so Fatima.
Okay.
A lot of people have been talking forever now that there are too many monsters for the children that were sacrificed.
Right. There's 20-something.
I had suggested, and a lot of people have been throwing out the number 28, which is what I'm going with for the point of this discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I had speculated that perhaps also extended family had been included in the deal. But this suggests that every cycle, at least one of them turns into a monster. Now, to get to, if we were started off with 14, and we get to 28, that means there have been 14 cycles. The original number that we see, we don't have any confirmation on this, but one of the years stated was 1516. And I believe that might have been where this whole thing started with.
I thought it was 1504.
I have 1516 here.
Okay.
But for the discussion, let's just go with that.
Also, I want to point out it wouldn't have been 14 to start with. It would have been 12 to start with because Jade and Tabitha were the parents of one of the kids.
Okay, fine.
So did I just break all the math you're about to do?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
But let's say that this has been going on for 506 years. And, if we gain a monster per cycle, that means 14 monsters. You divide that from 506, and you get about 36 years per cycle. I also did the math for 12. So if there were less monsters, that would still be about 40 years per cycle.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense,
yes.
because we've been told Victor's been there about 40 years.
Yes. Yep. So, the math translated into about 36 point blah, blah, blah per cycle. And that absolutely 100% tracks.
But again, they're not necessarily all exactly the same.
Right.
Either.
Right. Some cycles.
But that would suggest that we're waiting for Jade and Tabitha to be of age each cycle.
Yes. Yep.
Approximately.
Yes. So, yeah. And it was actually surprising because I had actually said in the last podcast that they had been pointing just this neon green sign pointing at Fatima turning into a monster.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, okay, it almost can't be that. Because they're not usually that upfront about it. But no, Fatima turned into a monster.
All right, now here's a thought. If somebody's turning into a creature each cycle, is it always someone who birthed a creature?
Maybe.
Which would mean it's always female.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that would be a problem.
Which would mean we should only have 6 men.
Yes.
Creatures. And I don't know the breakdown of all the creatures, but...
Yeah, maybe it's not always the one that gives birth.
Maybe there's other ways.
Because I can't, I don't think that every cycle happens the same.
Right.
So not these same events probably didn't repeat themselves all the time.
Right.
So I don't know that it's necessarily the fact that the person who gives birth all the time. It just happens to be in this case.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, I want more of the past. I want to know these things. Like
yes.
Different variations of how it's gone down. I want to see some of this stuff happen.
I think that if this story is going to hit and be an all-time great series, you have to show the beginning. You absolutely have to do that. You have to see the children be sacrificed. You have to see the parents, rebelling against that.
We need to see these creatures
yes.
as parents.
Yes.
Which might be a tall order.
Yes.
Because how many of these actors are even what's the word?
Available?
Like actra.
Oh, yes.
To be able to talk.
Right.
What's the word?
Union?
Union.
Yes.
They have to be union in order to talk. And a lot of them have talked, right?
Yes.
And they'd have to work around that to be like who could actually play a scene to be alive and have... I mean, they could do it, but I'm saying it could be challenging.
You know what? They don't necessarily have to be the monsters. Like, they don't have to be the people playing the monsters. They could have been in some other form originally.
I mean, I guess.
And then morph into their monster form, which could be different.
But...
Yeah, I mean, that would kind of suck, but...
That would mean would it make sense for us to see Pega appear as her creature next season, which I'm sure they're going to.
Yeah.
And
I
the
don't...
fact that Jamie was
Yeah.
reborn into the same creature,
Yes.
not a different creature.
Right. Well, that's assuming that Smiley was an original person.
I mean, sure, but what rules do they have? Once they're a creature, are they all should be playing by the same rules?
Right.
Also, like the whole clothes thing.
Mm.
There's not... I feel like almost all of them are dressed like they're from the 60s.
Yes.
So, could it... Either they're getting new clothes,
Right.
or are all the ones that look like they're from the 60s actually people from the 60s? Did they not get one person that cycle, but 10?
Maybe.
I mean,
don't know. Yeah. There's some weirdness with that would sort of have to be addressed, and I don't see them actually doing that. But maybe...
Like, there's a few of them who are wearing much older looking clothes. Like,
Right.
one of the men looks like he's wearing, like, a very 1800s looking farmer's outfit.
Right.
There's one woman who I think the only time we saw her was in Smiley's rebirth scene, who was wearing, like, a very, like, Victorian black full-length dress. So there's a few of them that have outfits older than the 60s. But I don't see where it's like, oh, here's 12 of them that are dressed from the 1500s.
Yeah. That's a tough one, for sure.
I need an explanation on what
Yes.
the heck these outfits are. I need something.
Right. So, what questions do we still have that season 5 needs to answer?
Well, like I was just saying, I need some explanation on the timeline, the buildings
Yes.
coming from different eras.
Mhm.
We need all of that spelled out for us in some capacity. What is this?
Right. We need to know...
We have a lot of speculations, but we need some concrete, like, here is what we're trying to convey with all of this.
Right. We need to know how story walking comes into play.
Oh, absolutely. We still need her to get up to season 3 finale. That hasn't happened yet, that scene.
Yes.
Which means Ian Bailey has to come back.
Right. Let's see. We need to know what the Golem thing was all about.
I need it to be about something.
Right.
Even though I don't care, I need to know that you didn't waste 3 episodes for nothing.
Right. What else? What else do we need to know?
Okay, so there's the 3.
The 3.
I want to
Yes.
talk about this for a second. So we had Randall, Julie, and Marrielle. For the whole last 15 episodes, I've been waiting for the 3 of them to get together, to have a conversation, to do something together. I was convinced the 3 of them had to go into the ruins together.
Yes.
And that was an answer. And now that can't happen because Marrielle died.
Yes.
Now here's one way I don't think we're done with that actress. I think possibly what they could do, what they might be doing, is this whole season, Marielle's whole arc was, I realize souls are trapped here forever, right?
Right.
So presumably her soul's trapped here now.
Yes.
Either it's just going to be like that's affecting Kristy,
Mm-hmm.
or we're literally going to see Marrielle again because she's trapped here. And I think we could see her now chained in the ruins.
Okay.
Because her soul is now trapped there, the way that we saw Martin trapped there.
Gotcha.
And presumably Martin was there forever.
Yes.
And now it's going to be Marrielle who is trapped there because her physical body died, but her soul is trapped, and the place that it's going to be trapped is in the ruins, in the chains.
Mm-hmm.
Because she kept seeing that vision over and over, that she was chained there.
Okay.
So I think we will see her again there. We have to get back to something about the 3 of them.
Right.
And that's the only way we can include her now, because she's dead.
Yes.
Is if it's her soul. And that's the place that it seems to make the most sense to me, to see her soul pop up.
Well, I mean, it could always happen in the series finale. They succeed. All the souls get free, and we see her briefly.
Sure,
we see
but...
people who died there, like Mrs. Lou, maybe
But
even.
specifically to the 3, I mean.
Yes.
Like, we were doing something with this. Like, it seems like after that, after they were chosen or whatever, and they did this thing, and the music box, and we still have the ballerina, by the way, that I need some resolution on what the frick that was about. It seems like it was after that Julie started story walking. And it has to be related because it happens when she's at the ruins. Is the only place it happens.
Right.
And then we've got Randall, who's hearing things in his head. He's hearing the cicadas.
We didn't really do anything with that this season.
No, but like there has to be something that's still connected to that part of this story, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because she only story walks when she goes to the ruins. We're not done with the ruins.
What else? What other answers do we need still?
I mean, it's like we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
Like, I don't even know what my questions are. I just know that we don't have answers to them yet.
Right. And, we got quite a few answers to questions this season, and a lot of people don't seem to realize that, but we did.
We did.
I don't think it's necessarily enough.
Yeah.
Especially since there's only 10 episodes left. Like, I think season 4 needed to do just a little bit more of the heavy lifting on some of those answers.
I mean, yeah, we found the bones.
Yes.
Like, this, you have to, at this point, take what they're telling us as truth. And a lot of people are still like, oh, no, I still don't believe that Tabitha is Miranda. I think she's out. No. What they're telling us is true.
Yes.
We're too deep into this now for them to change it.
Right.
Reincarnation. Jade and Tabitha. Like, this is the story. This is it.
Yes.
This is the story. They've been coming back for 500 years. We know this. This is fact. Stop trying to change the story.
Right.
We still need to flesh out the details and the timeline and all of this to make it make sense. But this is the story. It has something to do with the 1500s and a sacrifice of the children, which still doesn't make sense. How did it start? Where did it start? When did it start? Who were these entities? Where did they come from? I don't think we're going to get all of that, but we need some of that. Some explanation of how it started.
Yes. And I think we need to see it for this to have the punch that it needs to be an all-time great series, or even a good series, to be honest with you. Yeah. We definitely need to see that. One of the frustrations I did have with season 4, particularly towards the beginning, was the season 3 finale seemed to indicate that they had a lot more memories than they ended up actually having. Like, when we came back for season 4, it seemed like they knew a lot less than they should have.
Right.
And that was something, and, Tabitha
spent half the season saying none of it was real.
Right. And that was kind of annoying. Annoying on purpose, of course, because we're supposed to be frustrated with her. But, yeah, I mean, that was a frustration of mine, that it just seemed like they didn't know anything, honestly. And I think I think they need to have more of their memories next season, particularly related to their kids, for this to have any kind of emotional resonance for us when it comes down to. Like, what does this mean to them? What does this mean to Jade and Tabitha? Beyond just going home. Like, I think it needs to mean more. And I think we need to see that play out next season. Is like them connecting with those memories and emotions more.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we saw in the finale in season 3. But it seemed like they took steps back from that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. We didn't advance as far as it feels like we should have in a season.
Right.
We're leaving an awful lot on the table for season 5.
Yes.
But they have the bones.
They do.
Now, I think it's safe to assume they've never found the bones before.
Right.
We are 100% further than they've ever gotten in 500 years.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about, we got our two sides. We got the boy in white, we got the man in yellow, Sophia.
Oh, yeah. That reminds me. You made a comment about the boy in white and Sophia, their last interaction together. And I had already been thinking this. I was right on the same page with you, thinking that it was very reminiscent of Jacob and the Man in Black from Lost. And it's really funny because when we started this podcast, I would have no idea what that reference meant. But in between when we started and now, I have since watched that series, so I get that reference.
I have a whole paragraph here about Lost.
Okay.
Before I get into that specifically, just at face value, right? We've got boy in white, man in yellow. Their actual dialogue here. I just want to look at a little bit. Like, where are we with this story? Boy in white says they have the bones.
Yes.
And he's saying it like that's a plus for him. So it's a game.
Yes.
No question. They're playing a game.
Yes.
And what that means, we can debate. But boy in white says they have the bones, meaning point for boy in white.
Right.
Sophia says, but the bottle tree is gone.
Right.
Indicating point for man in yellow.
A big point, I would assume.
And then they're like, oh, who's going to win? Who's going to... And man in yellow always wins, right?
Yes.
So it makes me question, what are we supposed to do with the bones? Boy in white seems to be indicating that's the right thing. They have the bones. They are winning. And man in yellow says, but the tree is gone. So were we supposed to use the tree with whatever we're supposed to do with these bones? Do we need to take the bones to the lighthouse?
Oh, okay. Maybe. Yeah.
Do we need to take them to the real world?
Oh, okay. To set them free.
Get them out of here. Or, like, does it have... Something was supposed to happen with the tree.
Yes.
With the bones. So what are we going to do with the bones, I guess, is my question. That's what they need. Obviously, the characters need to figure out, because they didn't know. They're like, we know we need the bones. We don't know what we're supposed to do with them.
Right.
So that's where we're left with the physical story of where we're at.
Yeah. And where the heck are those talismans going anyway?
Right.
My assumption is they were going probably not back to the same spot that Boyd found in the forest, because then Boyd could just go back there and find talismans again. They probably went somewhere random, but they're wherever they went, they're being planted for the next cycle.
Yeah,
so that
I would assume so.
So they can be found again.
Because Sophia, man in yellow, is pretty convinced this is endgame.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's about to start over. They're setting up the game.
Mm-hmm. Putting the pieces back on the board.
Right. So, okay, let's talk about it. It's a game.
Yes.
They're on opposing sides. I'm less convinced than ever, though, that Boy in White's actually trying to help the people.
Well, I did bring up the question. I think I might have even said it during the course of this podcast, this, 2 hours and something odd minute podcast. The question... So the man in yellow seems to be able to interfere in all these crazy ass ways, and the boy in white doesn't seem to be able to do anything other than be like big and say, "Don't do this."
I mean, we don't know though. We don't know who's doing what. Like we've said that from the beginning.
Right.
Is this a 2-player game, or are there other players, other forces?
Right.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there could still be plenty of twists about what this is.
Yes.
But it's just a game to the man in yellow.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. Is it just a game to the boy in white? Which is bad for people, if that's the case.
Right. Well, if that's the case, then the boy in white is not playing it particularly well. And maybe he's the reason why they've lost so many times. But, yeah, what does this mean to the boy in white? What is the boy in white exactly?
Right.
He seems to be a counterforce to the man in yellow.
You know what? It shook me, this conversation, this scene at the end. Like how casual this conversation felt between the two of them.
There was no hostility between the two of them.
No, there was no, fear. There was no anger.
Right.
It was just a casual conversation about who's going to win.
Right.
It was too casual. It was eerie.
Mm-hmm.
How casual the boy in white's just like, I think that you're going to lose this time.
Right.
I didn't like that.
No? Because you think what do you think it says about the boy in white specifically?
I feel like the people succeeding would mean he wins, but I don't feel like he's just trying to help them succeed. I think it's just happenstance that them surviving would help him win.
Okay. Do they need to survive in order for him to win? Do any of them need to survive? Could they, release the bones and all die?
And does winning end the cycle, or do they start another cycle? Do they start another game anyways?
Well, I mean, that's what I was saying, I think, in the last podcast, where I mentioned, I don't know that them winning necessarily threatens the man in yellow's existence. Maybe they win, and he just goes and makes another bargain with a bunch of other people and starts a whole new thing.
Maybe worse.
Yeah.
All right, so this is where I'm going to transition to Lost talk.
Okay.
Because it felt very Lost-coded.
Yes.
This whole scene. And you already said it, Jacob and the man in black.
Yes.
So I want a little bit about Lost plot. Here's what happened in Lost for anybody who never watched it or doesn't remember those details, okay? So we had two characters. We had Jacob.
Yes.
Who we, as far as we know, can compare to the boy in white as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob was the one always shown in white.
Right.
And then we had the man in black, who was the evil force.
Previously, the smoke creature before he took over
he was
John's
the black smoke monster, is the man in white, or the man in black, who presumably we can compare to the man in yellow. Now, it could be wrong. We could have this completely ass backwards, and the boy in white is the real evil entity here. I totally see that being possible.
Right.
That we have this so wrong.
That's an interesting idea. Maybe the boy in white is, if they actually succeed in what they're doing, they do something really bad to the planet that we live on.
And sets the evil free.
Right.
Okay, so yes, this is what Lost. In Lost, Jacob and the man in black started off as mortals, and they were twin brothers. Okay. The island already existed, and whatever island lore already existed, they were born, and they were raised by the caretaker of the island, which was this unnamed woman. We didn't really get history past them. Okay. Jacob always called the man in black the incarnation of evil, and the man in black's goal for centuries was to escape the island. And they would play games. It became a game to them where he's trying to escape, and Jacob is trying to keep him imprisoned on the island. And it was said at one point that it would be the end of everything good if the man in black escaped.
Okay.
So the idea was like keeping him imprisoned, like who he became after they were no longer mortal beings. He was the evil incarnate. All of the evil went into him, and he is now keeping him in this island is what's keeping the world safe, basically. And if he gets out, that's the end of humanity, of everything good in the world. If we let this entity escape the island.
Gotcha.
Which feels like it could be very coded with the same type of situation we have going on here, where we could be possibly unleashing something bad by winning, even.
So we're saying that the actual good entity here is man in yellow?
I mean, whichever side, like, there could be something really bad we're containing by not winning the game. Do you know what I mean?
I'm actually kind of curious then. If the man in yellow entity was the one that we were trying to contain, why wouldn't the man in yellow actually want them to win the game and get out?
Right. I mean, and again, we don't know it's the same type of story, but it feels comparable.
I kind of doubt that it'll be the exact type of story, because I don't think they can do that again. But I mean, they were already saying, oh, it's like Lost, and this will literally be like Lost if they do that. But...
So, Lost lore continues. So Jacob and the man in yellow, the man in black, they were raised by the caretaker of the island. When she died, she appointed Jacob the new caretaker, and then the man in black spent centuries trying to escape. They had rules, though. They had to play by rules. And the rule was that they were unable to hurt each other. Physically unable to hurt each other. So for centuries, the man in black was trying to kill Jacob. But he couldn't do it himself. And Jacob had the ability to pull people into the island. He's the one that pulled all the candidates in. They were his candidates.
Yep.
Written on the lighthouse.
Gotcha.
So Jacob is the one who pulled all these people to the island, trying to, because he wanted to find the next caretaker. And then meanwhile, Man in Black was trying to convince all the people to kill Jacob. And this is the game they played for centuries. And then the Man in Black had the ability to take the form of people who died.
Okay.
Does that sound familiar?
It does sound familiar.
So much of this sounds familiar.
Right.
where we obviously have rules we're playing by. We're obviously playing a game. I don't think it's cut and dry good and evil, though.
Okay. Interesting.
But I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of lost conversations happening over the next year. I am sure of it.
I mean, there's
because
already,
of this scene.
already lost conversations, but they have the conversation wrong because they think that loss ended in a way in which it didn't. That basically, they're saying that, they were all dead the entire time, which was not the case.
No, they were not dead. They were
Yes.
not dead on Lost. They were not dead.
They were dead in the sideways
They
universe.
were dead in half a season
Right.
that took place in the future of the rest of the show.
Right. So they already have that conversation wrong. But yeah, I'm sure there is going to continue to be lost conversations.
I'm saying we're going to see a lot of Jacob Man in Black conversations comparing to this scene.
Okay.
I feel like I can't be the only person who saw this and said, oh my
Well,
God.
you're not, because, I mean, I didn't get that deep into it, but I definitely saw the comparison for sure. It was like the literal same thought that you were having when you were having it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's interesting stuff.
I mean, even if we're not doing the same thing, we're clearly playing a game where we have two different sides.
And
The question just is, do either of them actually have good intentions? I think that's my question.
That's interesting because, they keep bringing up the fact that this is the same creators as Lost, which is a bit of a misnomer. It's not really. Jeff Pinkler and Jack Bender worked on Lost.
Yeah.
John Griffin, the creator of the show, did not.
Correct.
And either way, Jeff Pinkler and Jack Bender were not the showrunners of Lost.
Correct.
I mean, Jack Bender directed a lot of episodes, and he probably had some input, but he definitely has more input on this series.
Yes.
Nevertheless, when you have similar writers as Jeff Pinkler is, who, of course was credited as having written this episode and has through many of the important episodes of the series, as a writer, you do tend to repeat certain motifs or themes or ideas. I've already pointed out when I watched Lost, like some of the similarities of the things that I noticed that were kind of things that happened in Lost as well as on From.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. I don't think they're going to repeat the exact same story, but they seem to be playing in the same sandbox.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think they could make a big twist and the boy in white could be evil.
Okay.
Because that would be where it all of a sudden you're expecting boy in white is Jacob and the man in yellow is the man in black. And then we flip it and we think we won and suddenly we just destroyed the entire universe.
So the man that'd be a funny way to end the series. So the man in yellow is not evil, he just lacks social skills. I can relate.
Yeah. And maybe he's just kind of insane because he's been doing this for 500 years.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Right.
All right. Anything else to say before concluding? You do have another note there that's something about Adam's thoughts.
Oh, yeah. My husband is convinced after watching the finale that Donna is a mole. That she's in on it. We're back to that. But after watching this episode specifically, he's like, she's being awful suspicious. She's telling Henry, you need to go to the station and check on Victor. In the same breath, telling him that's where the gun is.
I mean, to be fair,
trying to talk everybody out of all the plans.
Yeah. I've never subscribed to that theory. I don't think that... we do have one shout out that we didn't say. And we failed to make in 2 podcasts, I think, because we don't think we made it in Sullivan's Crossing. We'll get to that in a moment. I don't believe in the whole Donna's a mole thing. I think we revealed who the mole is in Clara. But, yeah, it goes back to the same thing, like, in Season 2, like, where Donna just kept showing up, from Randall's perspective, just where she needed to be at any given moment. Mm-hmm. Like, Sarah's being accosted by Randall and Jim, and then, oh, look, Donna comes. And there was a specific episode where everything she did looked suspicious, but there was a narrative reason for it. Right. There was a reason for her to be in all those spots. And there's a legitimate reason for her to answer Henry's questions. She doesn't have any reason to suspect Henry. He's asking questions, and she's answering the questions, honestly. Is there a reason not to? Is there a reason not to tell Henry about Victor and the gun and the bullets, and is there a reason for her to think that this is anything other than a normal conversation?
Not if she's not in on it.
Right. So, yes, it looks suspicious, but at the same time, there's a legitimate reason for her to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
The last shout out that we didn't do in 2 podcasts, and you should bring it up to him, the fact that we're going to do it here, is Schalke. Is that his name?
Schalke.
Schalke?
And
okay.
I don't know the gender of Schalke.
Okay. So Schalke, he was happy about our shout out, and I'm sorry that it's happening so late in this podcast, but he also, it made his day, he said. And
you keep saying he. I don't know if it's a he.
He, she, okay. They.
Not as in, I know that they use they pronouns, but as in, I have no idea who the identity is behind this internet persona.
All right. I'm sorry for assuming your gender. But they were happy that we shouted them out and that we made their day. And they also discovered this series because of our Sullivan's Crossing podcast and started watching this series, which, if you really think about it, is kind of insane.
It's very insane.
Because these are 2 very different shows. They're 2 entirely different genres.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we increased the membership of the viewership for From by 1.
I mean, we have convinced other people to watch From.
Yes.
But intentionally.
Right.
This is the first time we've heard of somebody listening to one of our other shows and then started watching From. Although we're constantly say all the time, go watch From if you're not watching it.
Yes.
So, I mean, we do say that, but it is kind of wild that it worked.
All right. Anything else to say before concluding? If there's other thoughts that we have, we can include them next week when we do the viewer comments.
We will definitely circle back to From. We might need to wait more than a week just to
digest.
Maybe a couple weeks.
Okay.
Because there's going to be a lot, I think.
Okay.
And we want to encompass it. And I'm sure we'll both think of more things we want to say. Because
Absolutely.
We got to wait a year now. But here's the good thing. Season 5 is written. Mm-hmm. They go into production
July 7th, I think it was.
July 7th, which is like, I was trying to see what day is today, because I don't know. It's like a week and a half, 2 weeks,
something?
2 weeks from now?
A week.
A week or 2.
Yes.
July 7th. Right after 4th of July weekend, they start filming season 5.
Yep.
It's here. Oh, it's here.
Right.
They just got to make it.
Yeah.
But it's already written. The creators already know exactly how this plays out to the letter because it's already written. And they might have minor tweaks still through production, but the bulk of it is done. They just need to literally make it. And that's both scary and awesome.
Yes.
Because, it's too late for them to start picking up on things we say, because they already finished writing the story.
Right. It's too late for them to listen to our podcast and realize, oh shit, we got to do that.
Right.
I'm pretty sure they don't do that, but you never know.
I mean, it has happened before.
Yes. Aaron Kuntz and Luke Boyce, when they were writing or doing Revival, they listened to our podcast.
They were taking notes.
They were.
And
yeah.
if they got another season, which they haven't, I feel like we would have actually had influence on it, which is crazy to say. Yes. Now, I do not think John, Jack, or Jeff are listening to us, but you never know. And
right.
If you're here, hey.
Hi, Jack and Jeff. Come talk to us. And, yeah. All right. We'd like to hear from you. What'd you think of this podcast? What'd you think of this episode? What'd you think of this season? Stacie, we reached at.
I can be reached on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at TV and Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are several ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join the Core Productions Facebook page. You can buy something from the Core Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a copy. You can join the Core Productions membership starting at 99 cents a month. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Core Productions, signing off.